It is Thursday, April 9th. It is time to get in the weeds. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. And folks, I'm going to warn you right off the bat. It's going to be wrestling heavy today. You know, you're
I can
free
I
to
can
leave.
hear all I can hear everybody like watching the show. They're just like, oh man. They're like, boo, boo this man. What are you talking about?
Too much wrestling going on in the world today. I'm sorry, Will. I'm sorry, Ace Shock. I apologize that it's going to be wrestling heavy. I do see. I assume it's a Lakers jersey you are wearing. Which jersey is that? Who is that?
This is my good luck charm for him to find a doctor who will clear him for the playoffs so we have a fighting
Uh,
chance.
that's fair. That's fair. Best wishes to Luca and Austin Reeves. I do hope they're healthy for the playoffs. You never want to see top players missing the playoffs. So I do hope they're healthy. So we shall see. I don't know. My team wrapped up the West. We're gonna rest the last two games. I still hope the Nuggets
Smart.
get the 3 seed, and the Spurs and the Nuggets can
And they
piggyback off
got
each
it. They
other.
pretty much got it because the Lakers ain't
Yeah,
winning another game this season.
Houston's still there though. Houston is a
Uh,
possibility.
I don't. The Nuggets have not lost. They're on a 10-game winning streak. They've won 13 of their last 16. I think they got the 3 seed on lock. They're the
It
hottest
depends
team in
on.
the NBA right now.
They are, and they play OKC and San Antonio in their final two games, but OKC and San Antonio have literally nothing to
They're
play
locked in
for.
at two. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're locked in at 1 and 2, so they have
Uh,
nothing to play for. So they
no.
all they need is one of those games, and yeah, they got it wrapped up. So I think they got the 3 seed. I
It,
in a perfect world, this is not the worst matchup for us to have with all our injuries against the Rockets,
Houston,
who,
yeah.
yeah, that's like the best case scenario, and especially if Luca can find a way to get out there by like game 4 or game 5, I think we can catch one game to extend the series. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see.
I think Houston is probably ideal as well without at least one of them, certainly both of them. Um, it depends on what the Nuggets want, though. Like, do they want San Antonio in the second round? Do they want
I think
Minnesota
I think
in the
I
first
think they
round?
play they are the best team to go against the Spurs. Honestly, that's the best case scenario for you as well.
Oh yeah, I would prefer if like I'm not scared of Denver. We've beaten them all 3 games this year, and we beat them last year. And it went 7. It was a tough matchup. I'm not gonna pretend like it wasn't. I mean, look, I'm scared of everybody because that's my eternal pessimism that I'm scared about. But I want Denver to play San Antonio. Oh, flip that. I want San Antonio to play Denver. I want them to have to deal with. I want them to have to deal with Denver because I think San Antonio easily handles the Rockets. I don't. The Rockets can give them some matchup problems, but I don't think there's a ton there. I think they handle the Lakers. I think they handle the Timberwolves. Like Denver, Jokic is Jokic, right? Like
And they
that's
gave
going to be
us
the
one of the
toughest
best
matchup.
games of the regular season just last week. So
Yeah, yeah. I want San Antonio to have to deal with Denver. I do think Denver actually prefers San Antonio too because uh, OKC again they've beaten them all 3 games this year. They beat them last year in the playoffs. I think they feel more confident against San Antonio, younger team. Wemby's obviously great, but they obviously feel comfortable with Jokic
yeah,
being Jokic in that matchup. So yeah, I think Denver kind of prefers that matchup as well. So we shall see how that plays out. But the Denver win against San Antonio a couple games ago was huge for them getting 3 and then OKC being able to clinch 1 last night. And the Lakers' loss to the Mavericks was big because I think the Lakers were always going to lose that game against
I think
OKC once the
I
Luka
predict
and
I
Reeves
predicted on
injuries.
True Heel Heat Check that we're gonna lose out the rest of the season. I said the only game that we
Tonight,
of winning the Jazz. That's our final game.
tonight is tough because I don't know what the Warriors are gonna do. They might sit Steph. The Warriors are on a back to back. They're already sitting Porzingis. They might sit Steph. If Steph plays, it becomes LeBron's playing tonight. By the way, Marcus
Yeah.
Smart is questionable tonight. Smart's been a big loss for the Lakers
Mm-hmm.
these past 2 weeks. If Marcus Smart plays, that changes a little bit. But if Steph plays, I do. Did you see or at least like read about or hear about the Kings and the Warriors game? Like the Warriors were about to lose to the Kings, and the
And they
Kings were
fouled Steph.
intentionally fouling them. Like they were intentionally fouling them in the fourth quarter, like in a tie game or whatever. Or they were leading.
They are a different level of tanking. They're a different level. This is next level tanking.
Like this was ultimate tanking. So I don't think the Warriors are actually great, even with Steph back. I mean, they were a Steph shot away from beating the Rockets a couple games ago. And if Brandon Podzinski knows how to listen to Draymond instead of double screen, maybe the shot is easier and it goes in. But like, I don't think the Warriors are a great team or anything. It's certainly if Steph doesn't play, it's like, yeah. But yeah, the fact that like they were about to lose to the Kings if the Kings aren't intentionally fouling, like what are we doing out here? So yeah, Lakers Warriors tonight
3D
could be
3D chess
interesting.
right there.
These teams with their tanking, just amazing, absolutely amazing. The lengths they'll go to.
That's why I think we're gonna beat the Jazz in our last game, is because they're
Oh, the
gonna
Jazz will find a way to throw that game. Yeah, yeah. The
So
Jazz will foul
we'll get
out.
to 51. We'll get to 51 wins. I was sure of that because my nephew was like, "Oh, I don't think they're gonna win any of those games without Luka and Austin Reeves." I was like, "They'll probably lose to the Jazz. I mean, they'll probably win against the Jazz because the Jazz will find a way to lose that game."
The Jazz will foul out everybody and be like, "We've only got 3 players. What do you want us to do?"
Forfeit? Can we just forfeit?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll find a way to lose that game. I'm actually not worried about the Jazz somehow winning that game. The Warriors technically don't have anything to play for tonight either because they're locked into 8. They can't climb any higher.
Yeah.
Or sorry, they're locked into 10. They can't climb to 9th and get home court for the play-in game. So yeah, they're completely locked into 10.
I do appreciate the NBA locking in these seeds pretty much in the Western Conference early before this weekend, so then I can
East
do
is absurd.
True Hill Heat Check on Sunday and do a playoff preview then, because I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, can I do it on the last game of the regular season? Most of the West is already like locked in. It's the Eastern Conference that's really like 5 through 9 in the Eastern Conference is really the only thing that needs to be decided. So hopefully in these next couple of games, we get some separation in that fact. I mean, the Hawks, man, I can't believe the Hawks. The Hawks was like the perennial freaking play-in team, and they're in they're 5th seed because of that hot streak and Jalen Johnson having this career year. Like, because of all the injuries in the 65 game rule, I think there is a shot that Jalen Johnson might make the first team All NBA.
I don't know about first team.
I think it's a shot. There's a shot. There's a shot.
I think Wemby's going to find a way to play 20 games, 20 minutes in one of these last few games. I'm not saying he's going to play hard or anything, but he'll be in there for 20 minutes to be eligible.
I was hearing they have like a minutes thing now.
Yeah, you got to play 20 minutes to count it for a full game. So that's what I'm saying. I think Wemby.
All these rules is a little outrageous for me. Like, I understand this is Adam Silver's way of combating load management, but I don't really think load management has been that big of a problem in the last like 2 seasons.
So this is the funny thing about the NBA is they created this rule. It's basically the Embiid rule, right? Because Embiid did the load management, it would miss games, so they're like, oh, let's put a minimum 65 games on there, and then that's the only way you can be eligible. all because of the Embiid stuff. And it's the same thing with tanking is they're trying to reform everything when tanking is like kind of always been prevalent when it comes to the NBA, and it hasn't exactly worked out. Like, for some reason OKC is looked at as the face of tanking, even though it was 2 seasons they missed the playoffs and they ended up with one top 5 pick out of those 2 seasons where they were allegedly tanking, and that got them Chet, which was great, but that's it, one top 5 pick. Look at all these other teams that have like tried to quote unquote tank and they haven't gotten anything. The Spurs have gotten the best lottery luck, and the Spurs haven't like outright tanked. Now they'll be accused of tanking, and there's been some practices where sure. OKC, same thing. Like, guys will get shut down for the season. They shut down Shea. Could Shea have played through some of those injuries? Maybe, but why are you going to risk your star player in that case to play him through games that are ultimately meaningless? And same thing with the Spurs, but the Spurs have just gotten great lottery luck over the past few years. Detroit has been tanking, and they got the first overall pick one season, but then the season where they were like one of the worst teams in NBA history, they didn't get the first overall pick. Like, the lottery odds don't really reward. The Mavericks got the first overall pick last year. The Mavericks were a play-in team. Now, granted, it's because the deal they made with Adam Silver to trade Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic to get Luka to the Lakers. But
thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, everyone.
Like, tanking is only bigger this year is because you got 3 or 4 like kind of can't miss guys or supposed can't miss guys, and so teams are like, oh well, we want to get in position to get these guys. Look at a few years ago when Zakari Rashir, I don't even know how to say his name because he barely plays, like he was the first overall pick. Nobody was tanking for him. Nobody was like, oh, we need to lose games to get this guy. Like, you're always going to see teams tank if the prospect on the other side is a guy who people think is like a generational kind of guy. And I think generational gets thrown around way too often, but that's the reason you'll see teams tank. And this year there are, again, 3 or 4 guys where people are like, oh, these are franchise altering guys, so we got to put ourselves in a position to get these players. I do think it's a little overblown with the tanking, and now they're coming up with all these absurd different ways to fix tanking. And it's the same thing with the 65 game rule, though. It's like it's kind of one guy who's affecting everything, and so now we're going to just change the entire thing. I think minutes are more important than games played. LeBron has played more minutes than Wemby this year in 10 less games, but he's played more minutes than Wemby. Like, I think you should have a minutes threshold more than a games threshold, because I think you'd see more people hit that minutes threshold in a lesser amount of games, because the most impactful guys are always going to play the most minutes. And so that seems like it's more important than, hey, you played for 20 minutes in this game and then we got you out of here. But don't worry, you still hit the games requirement. It's okay.
I just feel bad that the whole, one of the main storylines over the last month or two has been about this hotly contested MVP race, and it's kind of like, even though I've said from the beginning I thought that Shea was in the lead and Shea was going to win it, but it's kind of like he won it because everybody else died. Everybody died around him.
It's honestly unfortunate that that's like the narrative's like, oh, we only got it because the other people aren't going to hit the requirements and everything. Like, this whole MVP race was media driven anyway. He was never going to lose. This
MVP has always been a narrative based award. That's what it's been for the better part of 2 decades. That's why and it's because it's the media that decides upon it. It's not any really objective kind of way to grant who the NBA is. If this was a vote between the media, the fans, and the players and coaches, then I say that we're gonna get a somewhat objective winner of the MVP. But because it's only done by media, and media needs stories and need these narratives, that's why it's become this narrative based award. That's why Steve Nash won 2 MVP awards and why Kobe only has 1. That's why Shaq only has 1. That's why LeBron has 4, because he was the best player for multiple years, but I would question kind of some, like at least 2 of his 4 MVPs. I would question that he really deserved those years. So
all right,
like
but
that's
he
what it all comes
also
down to.
he also deserved that Derrick Rose one, but they gave it to Derrick
Oh,
Rose
I
because
know. This is what I'm saying. Like this,
yeah.
It's all narrative based because he won those 2 ones where 2009 he shouldn't have won it. Should have been Kobe. Kobe should have won back-to-back MVPs that season because he was on the best team. He was the best player in the league. Even LeBron said it in 2009. Kobe should have won in 2009. 2010, that should have been his first MVP, and then he would have won it again in 2011 with the. But I mean, the Miami Heat weren't as great as people thought they were, so that's also kind of like expectations meets what you've done in the past. So I can understand why Derrick Rose won that one. Maybe more questionable than that is Steve Nash. Both Steve Nash's won. I'll give him 1, but getting back to back, I'm sorry, he did not deserve to win back to back MVPs. But yeah, it's all narrative based, but it's been like that for 2 decades. I've dealt with it being a Kobe fan, being a Los Angeles Lakers fan. Los Angeles Lakers will get 1 MVP, but a lot of our like top players of all time haven't won multiple MVPs since the 80s. So that's how it goes. So yeah, I've always felt like it's narrative based. I'm glad that Shea was able to overcome all the different narratives that were trying to work against him and trying to find a way to not give him a back-to-back MVP, because he definitely deserves this year.
Well, the narratives, again, it's all driven by a lot of the ESPN people and basically the talking head people. And the thing with those people is like most of them don't have MVP votes, so they're not actually that important when it comes down to it. Like the people with MVP votes are more of the local kind of journalists who do follow the game a little bit closer than the narrative talking heads on ESPN, Fox, whatever the network might be. Like I don't know if Kendrick Perkins has an MVP vote. He probably shouldn't if he does.
He probably does. Stephen A. and freaking Rachel Nichols have an MVP vote.
Do they?
Yes, they do. That's actually preposterous. In real time, that is preposterous because you can tell these two, maybe Stephen A. more than Rachel Nichols, but Stephen A. is all about narratives. He's not about what he's seeing on the court. Sometimes he'll drop that in and actually you'll realize, oh, he actually does watch the game, but he's more about narratives because of the job that he has. And Rachel Nichols hasn't watched a game of basketball since probably the bubble.
I mean,
and that was for other reasons.
Yeah. We don't need to get into reporters and what they're doing with coaches and players because
let's talk about that narrative. Let's talk about that narrative
right now.
Oh man, yeah. It's rough out here on these streets, but yeah,
it's been very funny watching that unfold, though. I will say that very funny watching that unfold.
Next, we'll do our NBA playoff and play-in preview.
Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, plenty of hoops talk on Tuesday, guys. If you're here, you've probably been here 19 minutes to almost 20. Hit a thumbs up on the video. We appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Tap the bell for notifications. So they've added widgets to StreamYard. Anybody familiar with StreamYard might have noticed this. I'm pretty sure they weren't there yesterday because I did not see them yesterday. So we can put like a QR code, which I'm not going to do to you guys, but we can put a poll through StreamYard now. So for the first time in the Weeds history, we're going to do a StreamYard poll. I have no idea how this works. I assume it shows up like on the thing. I don't know if I can take it away. Hopefully I can take it away because I don't want it like just being there the entire show. If it just shows up the entire show, I might just go back to YouTube. But we're going to have a poll here. I haven't quite decided on the poll. I was thinking of something that, of course, Barry's TNA. You know what? Here's the question. All right, here's the poll. Well, we're gonna jump into our main topic here. The poll question is: who do you blame in TNA pulling talent from indie shows? We have TNA. We have AMC. We have WWE. How many options can I have? Oh, I can still only have 4 options. I didn't know if maybe StreamYard would give me more options. All right. Option 4, the fans. Let's see if any of our viewers are just going to blame the fans for TNA pulling talent. As a bit, like our viewers might, because you guys are very much into bits, which I respect. So there's your poll. Who do you blame in TNA pulling talent from indie shows? TNA, AMC, WWE, the fans. Okay, start and show. All right. Oh, I can't hide it.
At least
okay,
you don't.
Cool.
At least you don't have freaking some of these. I saw somebody in the chat mention it, but oh my god, the pro TNA community is hilarious to me. Shout outs
TNA
to
community.
Yes, the TNA community. Shout outs to Ayo, who is the most hilarious person on social media. Freaking I saw one post where he was like, "Oh, we all know this is because of WWE and AEW." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "You got it half right. You got it half right." Talking about the Leon Slater getting pulled from freaking the WrestleCon. He tried to blame it on AEW. I was like, "Sir, I'm gonna need you to sit this one out. You don't have to use every TNA post to post up and advertise this week's TNA."
Apparently, you have to leave a number in the chat for this instead of clicking, which is fine. I'm gonna hide it at some point because I don't like that it like covers so much of the screen. It looks kind of like stupid. Yeah, you've gotta. Like there's no like great place. The thing is like there's no like great place to put it. Like if I put it here,
that's the best. That's better. That was the best place to put it. Yeah.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. I don't fully mind this, except on StreamYard you get like the live and the viewer.
Yeah, and it's count. Below that. Yeah, that looks weird.
Yeah, it looks very dumb on my end. So that's why I don't like it there.
I don't like it there either.
Yeah, I look stupid.
I don't like it above us. I like it.
Yeah, I don't like it above us either.
Then, if you put it over on your side, it's blocking the overbook signal. So the best place is right by me. There we go.
It's still like I feel it just block. I just want to like shrink it. Like, why can't I just like shrink it down?
Why can't I have it like right in the corner?
Yeah. I'm gonna hide it at some point. I'll keep it up for a little while so people see it and know that it's going on, but I'm gonna hide it at some point. I can't put it middle bottom. Like I can't, Matthew. These are my 4 options. The 4 places you have seen it are my 4 options. I don't have any other option of where to put this poll. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. That's that. Okay. So yesterday it came out that Moose was being pulled from. I do like that the poll now, like everyone sees what you're voting for because you have to put the number in the chat. That's very funny.
Yeah.
So now you can't hide if you're doing a bit. It came out yesterday that Moose was being pulled from MLP Multiverse, which he hadn't even been announced for that show. He just got pulled. And then it came out that there's traction on Leon Slater being pulled from his match against Ricochet at WrestleCon, and there's traction from Nick Nemeth being pulled from his match against MJF at Create Pro in May. And then a few hours later, the traction turned out to be correct because Leon Slater got pulled from the match against Ricochet at the WrestleCon March Hitchcock Memorial Show, and Nick Nemeth got pulled from his match against MJF at Create Pro, which they spent weeks, months building up through interviews and social media posts and everything. But both of them got pulled from their respective matches. Carlos Silva said partner conflicts was the reason why the matches got pulled. Yeah, Fightful Select reported that TNA blocked a Bear Bronson match against MJF in GCW. I don't know when that match was supposed to happen, but sounds
I
like it
think they
was
said in
going to happen.
March,
Was it March? Okay.
or either it got pulled from March and was supposed to be at a later date, or it was supposed to happen in March. I didn't
Let me double
specify
check.
from there.
Yeah, I'll double check of when the match was supposed to happen. Pull from
But just
Plan Indie
remember, March
match.
was mentioned.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah. MJF was actually planned to face longtime friend Bear Bronson in GCW or at GCW in March, and TNA blocked it. Okay, so yeah, it was March. So there you go. So TNA pulled talent from matches against AEW talent, and TNA is going to TNA on this one. Who are you putting the blame on, SB3? Who is your vote for this poll question? And then you can give more thoughts on it.
I'm gonna put the blame on TNA mostly because they knew what they were signing up for when they got into business with WWE. And this was always bound to happen when you're in a partnership with WWE like they are. So the fact of the matter is they agreed upon this. They were asked about these matches. They gave approval, especially to WrestleCon for the Ricochet versus Leon Slater matchup, which was supposed to be their headline match. It was going to be the main event of the show. They promoted it. Everybody and their mama was like, how is this even happening? And were excited for it because it was kind of seen as like the must-watch matchup of WrestleMania week. And TNA agreed upon it. They probably worked out the finish and everything, how this match was going to go down and everything. And then TNA just pulls the rug out from under them. Like, I can understand if WWE had a conflict with this and didn't want TNA to have their stars in matches with AEW contracted talent, didn't want TNA stars to lose to AEW contracted talent, even though you have them lose to WWE contracted talent all the time. And they lost in like 5 seconds at last year's WrestleMania, and they've lost the TNA Knockouts World Championship multiple times within the past year to WWE contracted talent. But anyway, that's besides the point. That's besides the point. Y'all are in a partnership, so you don't want the competition to be in these matches with TNA talent. That's one thing, but you always knew this could be an option. So why even agree? Why even give clearance to make these matches? So these places announce it. The WrestleCon was promoting it heavily. Leon Slater versus Ricochet. Creator Pro was promoting it heavily, and so was both guys with MJF and the Nick Nemeth match. Thankfully, they'll both be on that card, but this matchup was one of those matches that were like news headline. People wanted to talk about it. People wanted to see it. People wanted to find a way to go to the show and to see this headline matchup that a lot of people did not think they would be able to see. And here you are taking it away from it. So I think that I think it's kind of preposterous if you're blaming the fans for this. It's one of two options, really. It's TNA, or it's WWE. I'm blaming TNA because they knew what they signed up for. When you make a partnership with WWE, we have about 30 to 40 years of evidence. This has never worked out well for anybody. It's taken away from a lot of the performers and what they can do. And it's taken away from these promotions. And a lot of these promotions that have gone into partnerships with WWE wind up going out of business shortly thereafter. So I don't know. I don't understand how we can blame anyone but TNA when it comes to this situation, because they are 100% to blame, because they shouldn't have never given clearance for these matches if they knew that this was an option. And if they didn't know this was an option, then they are being quite foolish when it comes to their partnership.
I blame the fans because you people did this to yourselves. I have maybe a hot take on this, and I'm a little surprised to see AMC getting the lowest percentage in our poll. Maybe I'm being naive. I can fully admit that. That's fine. I think AMC has more blame to this than people are giving them credit for. TNA and WWE have done business for the last year, right? Like, They've had a partnership for over a year now. It started in January of last year. There have been AEW and TNA matches over the last year. There have been AEW and WWE ID matches over the last year. Max Caster just beat Timothy Thatcher, who is the Evolve GM. Like, he's been part of the ID program for well
Foreman.
into Foreman. Sorry, like they've been well into this for a little while now. Again, there have been WWE and AEW, WWEID. Oh, let me clarify. WWEID and WWE Evolve against AEW matches. There have been AEW and TNA matches over the past year. There was no issue with that. Now, I will say it hadn't always been the top talent. It hasn't been someone like a Leon Slater, someone like a Nick Nemeth against someone like a Ricochet and someone like an MJF. It has been kind of a little bit lower level. Like Statlander might be one person. She definitely is, but Statlander might be like the highest known name that an AEW talent has faced when it comes to like TNA or WWE ID. But Brian Keith, I think Brian Keith faced Timothy Thatcher. Max Caster beat somebody. But regardless, there's been examples of AEW against WWE ID and against TNA talent on the indies over the past year. AMC is new to all of this. AMC just got involved in January. AMC now, after last Thursday, where AEW came on to Thursdays and beat them in the viewership, which, okay, it happens. But I think AMC is looking at this more of being like, why are we going to have our guys? Why are we going to have a top guy like Nick Nemeth? Why are we going to have our X Division champion potentially, most likely, lose to these AEW people? That doesn't look good for our product. AMC is very heavily involved with TNA. Don't get it twisted, everybody.
Yeah,
AMC does great promoting with TNA. They're over their socials. They're announcing matches on their socials, and TNA does good numbers for AMC as well. So AMC is very much like, they are rah-rah TNA, which they should be. It's a partner on their platform. I think AMC is more involved in this than people are willing to say, because, and if I'm AMC and I'm looking at this, I'm like, why are we going to have our guys lose to a competitor? A legitimate competitor. AEW is a competitor to TNA. They're all competitors. They're all in the wrestling space. And AEW is going to be running some Thursday nights throughout the year. Get ready for more Collision on Thursday nights with the NHL playoffs starting up.
That's going to happen next week. I think they're going to announce Collision next Thursday for not, because they did that last year with the Spring Breakthrough. So I think that next week's Spring Breakthrough is going to be a Thursday night Collision episode. So
I think AMC deserves more of the blame here than people are willing to give them, because Carlos Silva says partner conflicts, and of course people are going to look at partner conflicts like, oh well, it's WWE, that's their partner. AMC is their partner, folks. Don't get it twisted. AMC and TNA are partners here. So if you want to blame WWE, fine, I understand. WWE is very easy to blame when it comes to all of this. All I'm saying is there is cold hard evidence of WWE ID talent versus AEW talent, and cold hard evidence of AEW talent versus TNA talent over the past year, when there has been a partnership between WWE and TNA. And now, when AMC is now more involved, now it's an issue. I put most of the blame on TNA. I will say that. I'm not putting all of the blame on AMC. I think there's a lot to be spread around. TNA deserves the most, though, and not like it's their talent, it's their call ultimately. But TNA is the one who they initially approved these matches, obviously, because you're not going to announce these matches if they're not approved. So they've approved these matches and now they've pulled them back. So it's a terrible, terrible look for TNA, and it is their fault at the end of the day. So I put most of the blame on them. I put more blame on AMC than WWE.
That's fair. That's fair. I could see your point. You make good valid points when it comes to that. But I mean, it is kind of fishy timing as well, considering that just last week Jody Threat beat Mercedes Moné. Yeah. So yeah, all of that combined. I agree though with the latter point that the blame can go around to a bunch of different places. I think most of all it starts and ends with TNA. TNA agreed upon this stuff and then pulled back on it. I can understand if they were getting some partner pushback from an AMC or a WWE, but you should be like, okay, yeah, we understand that. So going further, we won't do that. But let's honor these agreements that we've already made with these places, with the WrestleCons, with the Creator Pros, with the MLP. Let's honor the bookings that our guys have already made, and then just let them know that this is their last time they'll be accepting bookings when they are going into matches against AEW talent. Like, I have no issue with TNA pulling from not wanting their stars to compete against AEW talent in any which way. Don't get me wrong in that assessment, but you already agreed upon it. So you were basically taking money out of these guys, especially Leon Slater, who got pulled completely. At least Nick Nemeth, he's still going to be in a matchup. He gets to face another TNA guy in Bear Bronson on the Creator Pro show. But Moose, I don't think Moose cares that much because he seems to be in support of all of this. He's more upset that the news got out to the outlets, to the different outlets and stuff, more than he is upset about a booking being taken away from him. I'm not going to judge him on that. That's your personal choice, but that's a weird hill to die on. But yes, to take these bookings away, it not only hurts the promotions that you agreed upon letting these guys perform on them, but it also hurts your performers because you aren't WWE, you aren't AEW, you aren't paying these guys the top dollars that those top two promotions are given. You are TNA. We'll give you third in the North America, probably fifth or sixth overall in professional wrestling. So you are not paying them the same amount of money that they will get. And that's the reason that they're taking these independent bookings. So it sucks for the performers. It sucks for a lot of these promotions, especially like a WrestleCon, which was a memorial show, which looks even worse. It looks and sounds worse. This is a big hit to TNA's perception amongst the fans, because why are the fans going to want to support a promotion who does business like this?
Yeah, West Coast Pro has already kind of called out what's happening with all of this. Got a couple super chats. Mikey saying, learned Creative Pro is MJF school. He's right to be mad. I'll go a different direction. Like, I agree with you, Mikey, but it's also Brian Myers has a big hand in Creative Pro. Yeah. And Brian Myers is signed to TNA. So how is Myers looking at this and being like, wait a second, like, we set up this big match between Nick Nemeth and MJF, and now my company is effectively pulling this match from, or a company I'm signed to is now pulling this match from a company I'm very involved and have like stake in. Like, I don't know how Myers is looking at it, but I think he would have a right to be like, this is some bullshit here. And Daffy AEW saying, funny seeing the super hardcore TNA fans trying to defend Carlos and WWE while having word come out TNA talents are pissed, and it is funny to witness. Look, TNA fans are going to defend TNA. Like, I respect.
They've been around this long. They've been supporting this company through the worst times ever. So yeah, I think they're gonna defend TNA regardless of whatever they're doing and regardless of how the talent feel about it.
Yeah. And Moose being like, oh, why is this coming out? Like, if it didn't come out, maybe he's more mad that Moose, or maybe that his kind of got put out there first when he wasn't even announced for MLP. Yeah. Like, I can understand that, but it was going to come out when they canceled those matches, and it's like, wait a second, why were those matches canceled? So And then he starts just going after people. Like, come
Went
on,
after
come
when it
on,
went after
guys.
one of the most loyal TNA accounts on social media, Mike. Oh, poor
Yeah,
Mike, who was probably being facetious when he was like, "Oh, they should no show Rebellion," but Moose calling him out and stuff just made him seem like a bully and a freaking bootlicker for TNA. And I like Moose, but that was very bootlickerish. I don't think that he even intended to look like for it to look like that, even though I do know that he's very loyal to TNA.
yeah. To your point of this doesn't help TNA, and maybe that's why AMC wasn't involved because it doesn't like the perception of TNA is not good coming out of this. I'm viewing it as I see that point. I'm viewing it as I think they think the perception is worse if they have their talent compete on these shows and lose to an MJF or a Ricochet. Certainly in the case of Leon Slater, where he's the X Division champion, and if he's losing to Ricochet, again, if I'm AMC, I'm looking at that like, wait, why is our X Division champion losing to this guy in AEW who doesn't have a title right now? That doesn't make any sense for us. Like, yeah, you're gonna get hit with a tough fan perception by pulling these talents and everything. That is certainly true. I think they're looking at it from more of a, again, television perspective of, oh, let's not worry too much because you hear this all the time, and I think it's stupid, but let's not worry too much about what the online fans think, even though the same people who are going to watch Leon Slater and Ricochet are the same people who are going to be mad about TNA pulling talent, and they're going to be more mad about TNA pulling talent than they are about seeing a great match between Leon Slater and Ricochet and seeing Leon Slater losing. But we know how these people think, and they think that we can't have our talent on TV or on these shows look weak. We would rather take a hit from the online fans because we don't care about the online fans, even though everything we do is about the online fans. Like, we know that's how it works.
Yeah. And yeah, I kind of get what the chat is going for anyway as well, because even if this was like any AMC involvement and if AMC is the partner of conflict, this is different from even like WBD, where we've heard of WBD getting involved in AEW business with like rejecting different talent to appear on AEW television, but that is something that's going to be on the WBD product. And they haven't really gotten involved into the certain stars on AEW television who are able to go and perform on these independent shows and sometimes might cross-pollinate with stars from different promotions like WWE, TNA, or any other promotion out there. If AMC is involved in this is a bad look for them as well, because why do you care? You should only be focused on what's going on your television, on your network, more than anything. Like, you could kind of consider that, oh, not as many people that is watching, the 200 to 250,000 people that are watching TNA Impact probably are not even going to see what's going on Triller on a Thursday when there's 1,000 other shows during WrestleMania week. They're not even going to realize that Ricochet beat Leon Slater. That's not really a big deal about that. There's a portion of TNA fans that don't even know that Jody Dredd just beat Mercedes Moné. So like it does that's why my whole thing where I'm like, if AMC is going to get any type of blame for this, it's the smallest percentage out of the people that you're including, probably a little bit more than the fans. I still don't get that. Y'all have not been able to coherently explain why you're blaming the fans for this. But that's why I said it continues to fall back on TNA, because all of this could have been avoided if you have these partner conflicts, if you have partners that can get involved and stop these wrestlers from making these bookings or being involved in these matches. You should have gotten clear. Like, the promotion goes to you and you say, hold on, I can't give you an answer yet. I have to ask dad. I have to ask mom. I have to ask WWE. I have to ask at AMC. You have to go through the chain of command. Like, don't answer it and say, "Oh yeah, Leon Slater. Sure, you can have a matchup at WrestleCon. Sure, you can verse Ricochet. Sure, Moose, you can perform at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling because Maple Leaf is owned by a guy that y'all fired anyway. So I'm like, why are you having TNA talent perform on those shows? Like, none of this makes a lot of sense when it comes to the AMC blame of it to me, really. That's why I will continue to say I point the finger at TNA because TNA looks horrible. They look the worst out of everybody, so I think they deserve most of the blame
Yeah, I'm putting most of the blame on TNA. I still think AMC has more to it than maybe people want to give them to. I understand WWE. Excuse me. I understand WWE is the easy target here, and I'm not saying they are completely blameless in this. I do think they deserve some blame as well, but I think that there is more to the AMC stuff than people are kind of willing to admit on this. And we're never gonna fully know until Carlos Silva comes out, if he ever does, of like, hey, which partner are you talking about? Like, I hope somebody asks Carlos Silva this. Like, who made this decision? You said partner conflicts. Which partner? Was it AMC? Was it WWE? Was it both? It could very easily be both. I do think both of them are there when it comes to this. I think AMC probably said something. I think WWE probably said something because as much as, I did use the example of there have been AEW and WWE ID matches. There have been AEW and TNA matches over the last year. These are certainly more high profile matches than those matches were. Again, they were facing people like Max Caster, Brian Keith, Chris Statlander. Does WWE really care if their talents lose those matches or involved in those matches? Probably not. They don't care if Brian Keith beats Timothy Thatcher. Like, that doesn't really matter to them. But will they look at, like, why is the X Division champion Leon Slater? Why is he facing Ricochet? Why is he going to lose to Ricochet when we want Leon Slater whenever his contract's up? And that's one that I don't know if we can quite get behind. Why is Nick Nemeth going to lose to MJF? And that's one that we might not be able to get behind there. King of the North saying, would not be shocked if partner conflicts for the MLP and Moose stuff is Sportsnet and TSN. They're competing networks. Possibly.
I can see that.
MLP's not showing up on TSN until the summer, until July. So I don't know how much Sportsnet is looking at that now before all that.
Yeah, this show is not going to be on TSN. This show is probably going to be on like Triller, like most of the MLP shows. And I just want to say, I saw somebody comment being like, all these promotions do it. AEW pulled talent from GCW. I'm not going to give excuses for AEW because I got on AEW and they did the same thing. But we do realize what you're doing. You're trying to be like, oh, look over here. Don't pay attention to the real problem. Don't pay attention to what we're really talking about here. Pay attention to this over here. They're all bad. Everybody's bad. That's what I just called out earlier about the pro TNA people that are saying, oh no, this is WWE and AEW. It has nothing to do with TNA. So yeah, that whataboutism stuff, it's not gonna fly here. I'm gonna call you out. So I would try another channel. I would try another show because I'm just gonna call you out if you're saying that ridiculousness. Like, we are talking about the topic at hand. We talked about that when AEW did that, and we said it was wrong, especially like in November of 2024 when they did that with Ricky Saints because of what Effie said about Shad Khan. We called them out and we said it. We said that they were wrong for that. And a lot of the other ones that you're probably referring to is stuff when AEW agreed for talent to be on a show, but then they wanted them for an episode of Collision. That is much different from TNA saying, no, you can't work on this show, and it's not because we're going to give you money to be on our show. It's we don't want you on that show. That is much different. That is whataboutism, and you are not understanding what's the point of the topic at hand.
Delayed Grats, I like you. I don't mean this to specifically point to you because I don't think you're the only person saying this. I think this is a myopic view of how AMC looks at TNA because I do think they care who loses in these matches. Again, I mentioned it earlier, like why would AMC be like, hey, why is our talent, guys we promote, why are they losing to a competitor? Why are they losing to a person from another company who just ran on the same day we did, and we're gonna run more shows on the same day we run? I don't think people fully understand like how involved AMC like actually is with TNA and how much TNA like kind of means to their platform at this point because they ain't got a whole lot going on AMC anymore. You know when people talk about like, hey, AMC's the home of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and Walking Dead and Mad Men. Those shows don't exist anymore. Maybe Walking Dead has like their 12th spinoff.
Those shows like ended like a decade ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, most of them.
No one talks about like the great AMC shows of last year or anything. You reminisce about the great AMC shows of a decade ago. Like TNA is a big draw for them. They're promoting TNA like hell on their television, on their social media, everything. And the fact that this happens, and I'll continue to point to this, the fact that this happens a week after that Collision is on a Thursday. These matches were all announced, by the way, before that Collision episode last week. Leon Slater and Ricochet was announced before that. Nick Nemeth and MJF was announced before. The fact that this happens now, a week after Collision is on Thursdays, and AMC and TNA were reportedly not happy about that, even though that wasn't a AEW call. That was a Warner Brothers
WBD
call. Yeah. And AEW probably would have preferred to be like, wait, we can be on after the tournament games that are gonna get like
they
5
said
million
that
viewers.
Their highest viewership for Collision this year was the Slam Dunk Saturday that they did 616K. They want to be right after the NCAA tournament. They don't want to be on a Thursday where they get half the amount that they would get if they were following the NCAA tournament. But TNA is salty because it did cut into their audience. Like they've been consistently getting like 250, 270,000 every Thursday, and last week they got 200K while AEW did 373. Like that's part of it. That is a portion of it and that's what was in the report as well, that they were a little bit upset that the AEW went head to head with them. And guess what? They're going to bite into their audience again next Thursday as well.
This is foolish because the argument doesn't fall apart there because WWE and TNA are partners and they appear on each other's programmings. So it's a completely different argument of WWE beating TNA talent. And the argument also doesn't fall apart because they view WWE obviously as the bigger I'm talking about AMC. WWE is the bigger promotion. Wait, our talent's going to appear on NXT, which has 600,000 more viewers than us. Okay, they lose, but we still get a rub off of that. Yep. AEW, they are looking at as a direct competitor. WWE, they're not looking at as a direct competitor. So let's not pretend like we're having the same argument when WWE talent beats TNA talent compared to AEW talent beating TNA talent.
And remember how the whole lead up before they got the deal with AMC and then after they got the deal with AMC, what was all the people saying? You had Eric Bischoff on Ariel Helwani being like, I think all TNA needs is a TV deal and they can be the number 2 promotion in the world. You had Matt Hardy on his podcast saying like, oh, now that we are on AMC, I think we can really push the perception that AEW is the second promotion and we can be the number 2 promotion because we care about the story. We're not about the 5-star matches. We're about the stories. That's what we're about here. They pushed their whole agenda with going on AMC was to kind of push the perception that they could be the number 2 promotion. But I think they have come to the realization that them losing to AEW talent doesn't help that type of narrative that they're trying to build, which has failed and flopped and fell on his face so many different times. They're in a good place on AMC where they're getting more viewership than they have had in the last 20 years, since the early days of Spike TV, even the latter days of Spike TV a decade or 15 years ago. So I think they should be happy with where they are, but I can see the duality where I could see where TNA, the reason why they don't want to have AEW talent beat their talent on certain shows. But my whole thing, and what I'll keep going back to, is why agree to any of this in the first place? It does not do you any favors.
Yeah. And that's where I would just like to know more from Carlos Silva. And he's probably never going to give us more, but this is where I would like to know more of, like, why did you agree to this in the first place? You probably knew what the finish was going to be when you agreed to this, right? Like, that was probably run by you of, hey, this is what we're thinking, this is who's going to win, this is what we're going to do, and you guys were like, okay, we agreed to this. And now what has changed to where you were pulling that back to make you be like, oh, we actually don't want our talent doing these matches. We don't want our talent to lose. That's where, again, I would just like to know more from Carlos Silva of what changed. And partner count, which partner? One? Both? The partner in your head? I don't know, just someone, I hope, asks him about this stuff and actually, tries to get an actual answer instead of like, oh, okay, that's what they said. We'll just all move on when it comes to this. Hey, Joel, you're in Vancouver this weekend. I know we'll talk about it tomorrow, like press conference questions and everything. What'd they tell Tony? What was Tony told in this? Was he told, hey, this is a TNA call? Was he told, like, we just can't do it, and given no other reason for this? Tony's got the media call at 4. I don't know if anybody will ask about it. I imagine somebody will. It's kind of a hot topic right now. But yeah, what was Tony told on this? Maybe he can give us some actual insight. A couple super chats here. Jules, appreciate you. Says just for SP3 calling out the trolls and grifters. Preach SP3. You are the best. Fortunately, we've gotten more of them since getting main channel viewers and everything yesterday. You guys are right.
I couldn't even do the usual, like, give them a timeout so they learn their lesson. That one person there I have to completely ban. He was just insulting not only me and what's on my wall, he was insulting people in the chat. I was like, I'm not even gonna message Jeremy to ask him if it's okay. I know he don't want people like that anyway here. So
look, if you have an opinion on this stuff, you are more than welcome to share your opinion.
If you have if it's a difference of opinion, I will never ban you or anything. I joke around with a Zeno Hour and I'll put him on timeout, but I'll never ban him completely. I only ban people if you're being insulting to if you're being insulting to me, I don't really care because I got a missus at home. I got 2 kids. I do this for a living. I'm happy with my life. You're obviously not. But when you start insulting the people in the chat that have done nothing to you, you want to call them morons and stuff like that, get the hell out of here.
Yeah. If you want to blame AEW for this, fine. That's your right to blame AEW. We're going to disagree with you, but that's okay. We disagree a lot of times with people in the chat. But as SP3 said, you can insult us, you can disagree with us. That is fine. Depending on your insult to us, let's keep it actually a decent insult instead of like name calling and low hanging fruit kind of stuff. But you have to insult the chat. You can have a discussion with the chat. So we try to let everybody be here and live on their own free will. Just don't be an asshole. Joel's here for some reason. It's not like we're talking about TNA.
You know whose fault this is? It's Brett Lauderdale's fault somehow. Everybody blamed GCW and Brett Lauderdale. I don't know why. I don't know how. I have no problems with him, but he's the problem. How you guys doing?
How's it going?
Fine. Joe? What are you doing here for?
I came in just for a few seconds. I'm sure more information could easily drop in start the conversation tomorrow. But really, I've seen people try to push back with like, oh, TNA, they're trying to be legitimate, and why doesn't AEW? AEW tells their stars all the time that they can't lose, and it's like, well, they do. And I know, Jeremy, you mentioned that it's different situations, different talent. Like recent example in Toronto, Jay Lethal lost to Channing Decker in Decker's home turf. They will lose. It does come down to the caliber of the match, but at the same time, it shouldn't be on TNA talent to have to run back to the company that they work for once a weekend to ask for permission. And once permission is granted, TNA should not be able to pull them knowing what the match is going to be and knowing what the booking will entail. And if they do, then I think that they should be giving something off the top to the promoters and to the wrestlers affected in these situations. The wrestlers don't get to do the job that they were excited to do. Maybe they get rebooked and they do a different match, and that's one thing. But like the promoter actively messes up, and the company just messes up the promoter's deal. And you can't do that to an independent promoter who might be running on, these tickets are sold for this event based on this match that I've put together. That's a big deal to my fan base. You need to be compensating the people that you screw out of this. There might be people who go to the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show who were wanting to go specifically to see Ricochet and Leon Slater. And now that that's off, maybe they're turned off from going. I mean, otherwise, we know the card's going to be really strong. We know that. But there are still people who may have decided that this is the match that draws me in. Well, now you've pulled that match for some fans, and you've made the situation a little less exciting for them. You've made the show less exciting. TNA doesn't have the leverage to do this either compared to all the other people in the tank, so to speak. That's what makes it even more annoying. And finally, just to put it out there, the indie world doesn't give a shit about what you do on television. They just want to see the good match. They just want to see what you're doing in the ring. They are there. You want to talk about the most like work rate driven fans? They're the ones who go to these wrestling shows because the angles are there for like some of the matches, but otherwise it's just wrestling the match and having a good match. And that's what matters. The outcome doesn't really bug the fans. They're not going to watch you on your program the next week and be like, ha, that guy's a big loser. He lost to this guy in my home company and da-da-da. People don't do that. They just want to see good wrestling. And when you give them good wrestling, you're actively going to make fans out of that wrestler who will then watch the product on other stations that they perform on, possibly under different gimmicks. Big Bill Zero, I'm looking at you over at TNA. He's still Big Bill Collier over in Greektown Wrestling in Toronto and everywhere else. But he's Agent Zero over in TNA. No one really cares or draws the parallel. They just know the body. So I think it's silly. I think it's dumb. And I think that there will be pushback from TNA talent and if there hasn't been, then there should be. And there should be certain threatening measures in place from talent.
They should no-show rebellion. They should just not even... They shouldn't even say it's because like of this. They're just like, we're not going to Cleveland. You booked a pay-per-view for Cleveland? This is terrible. We're just not going to come here. And then it also has to do with this, but it's mainly Cleveland. Volib saying, I'd care a lot less if the wrestlers were getting paid enough for their TNA dates. Not to say as a fan, I don't want to see these matches because I do. Yeah, that was something MJF called out, which is very funny. Of like,
oh, MJF, thank you, MJF.
And you know what? I hope Carlos and company are pissed off at MJF. I hope they are, because everything they're saying is right. Everything that Max is saying is right. And everything that has been said about TNA and their treatment of talent is right. You have maybe 3 people there who get paid a full-on salary because they had an old deal or because they had the Trinity contract, as I call it, the one that's the biggest one they can offer, and they transfer that money every couple of years to the next big star. When Trinity left, it was the Nick Nemeth contract. But anyway, the point of it being, there are only a few people who are going to push back, and it's exactly the same people that you see. And one of them is exactly this guy right here who, for better or worse, in 2028, he won't be saying it as loudly anymore, but he's covered for now. So what he does, he's his own businessman. He can say what he wants.
Nick Nemeth commented on the match being canceled, and he says, as As of yesterday, as I was flying in, I found out because of certain partnership and brands, TNA president Carlos Silva had to make a difficult decision and protect a couple of brands down the line and things that are actually contractually obligated to happen. So he's winning the championship. Can't just kind of do.
SB3 and I have been on this boat for weeks saying he's winning the title at Rebellion. But then they were like, you can, sorry, I'll let you finish and then we'll talk. Go ahead.
Can't just do whatever we want, even though I think some things were approved at a different time when it became the situation that it is now with a couple of different things happening at once. I'm crushed. I very much was looking forward to this moment, but it's unable to happen at the moment. He's still doing Creative Pro. He's wrestling Bear Bronson. He said refunds will be available, but that's something we can all work on. Oh, wait, I hate to say it had to come out this way. I hate that this wasn't all taken care of in the past. That's something we can all work on. I got to start reading some fine print, and we have to protect people that we actually work with and we have a partnership with. Usually I'm pretty great about that, so I'll stay on that for everything that we do. So that was Nick Nemeth's comment on not getting the MJF match, getting pulled from that match.
So he ended it with a "that we do." He learned the memo. He learned the lingo.
And I'm also going to put this on AEW PR because they know Nemeth is doing Busted Open. They know that he's trying to work into this match with MJF. They know the back and forth. They know what he's saying, and they let it keep going until the match was announced. Nobody
TNA
ever. Who did I say? AEW?
You said AEW.
Yeah.
Sorry, my mistake. I did not mean AWPR. I meant TNA.
Okay, I just want to clarify.
Yeah, thank you. No, you're right.
I was going to let him finish. I was going to let him land.
Nope, you're right. It's because before I popped on, you were talking about going to Vancouver, and so I'm in AEW mode. But regardless, and they have the Tony call tonight. Yes, TNA PR should have been on Nick Nemeth about what he has been saying on various social media, on the radio show that he works on, Busted Open. They should have been like, hey man, is this match happening? They knew the match was happening. They should have handled this way better, but of course it's TNA PR, so they're not going to do this. King of the North saying lost to lame AEW PR. Not this. And the thing is,
Joel just finds a way to take the shot at AEW no matter what. Not even their faults.
I know. That was on me.
I was trying to give the Joel haters an opportunity to clip this and be like, "You hear this guy? Why is he blaming AEW PR for Nick Nemeth?"
Coach and Bro are gonna have a day with this. Anyway. All this to say, screw you, Chad. No, all this to say, yeah, Nick basically just said, I'm winning the title on Saturday, and they were gonna do, they were gonna do some sort of like non-title title versus title type of thing, like who's the better champion at Creative Pro, and TNA was like, well, it wasn't gonna be you, so bro, we're just not gonna do the match, brother.
Does it change anybody's opinion if Nemeth does win the title and that effectively becomes a title versus title match? I think MJF is losing on Sunday. But if it effectively becomes a title versus title match and then TNA looks at it like, wait, why is our champion losing here? Does that change anybody's opinion on this? SP3, does it change yours?
No, because you just book a double count out. You book a double count out. You book a time limit draw. There are ways around this where you don't have to worry about, they're gonna have our guys lose this matchup, or they're gonna want MJF to beat him. No, you just make sure that you're talking with the promotion and be like, my guy can't lose. AEW is probably gonna say MJF can't lose. So you book a double count out so you can give the fans what they wanted to see with the MJF Nick Nemeth matchup. If they're getting the matchup 9 times out of 10, yeah, they'll boo if it's a double count out. Yeah, they'll boo if it's a double disqualification or a time limit draw. But they're still getting the matchup that you promoted and that you promised them, and why a lot of people probably already bought tickets for that Creative Pro show.
Does it change your opinion, Joel?
Which part? Sorry, I missed the question.
If Nemeth is going to win the title on Saturday and this effectively becomes a title versus title match, does it change that, okay, TNA maybe want to protect their world champion?
Sure, they want to protect their world champion. However, the problem with this was the AEW title was never on the line to begin with. And I'm speaking specifically the AEW title when Max presented the match. It was always non-title. This would have probably stayed non-title because I don't think both companies would have. I don't think Tony would have wanted to do title versus title, even if Max was winning or if it was a fuck finish, whatever, because it just doesn't. Nobody wins when you're going to do a DQ, so you may as well just do a who's the better champion story out of it without putting titles on the line somehow. Like you gotta get creative and find a way around it.
I don't think it would have been title versus title, by the way, because then you are literally saying, hey, we ain't having a finish to this match.
Right.
I think you are looking at, again, a perception thing of like, why is our world champion losing to their world champion? And if I'm TNA and looking at it like that, I can see an argument.
So you know what you can do? You just get a bunch of the TNA guys who are working Creative Pro to back up Nick. You get whoever from AEW is working the Creative Pro. There's at least one on each side I'm thinking of right off top. There's Brian Meisen, there's Bear, there's Chris Statlander, there are others, I'm sure, who are working from AEW who would be on one side or the other that would, quote, help out their brand if you want to make it a brand warfare thing. And the match has an inconclusive ending, but you can then carry it and kick the can down the road, making it a TNA AEW story for a few months in Creative Pro. Like, it's not bad. It's just a way to do something with it. Create, chicken salad, right?
What they should have done, by the way, for all of these, for Leon Slater and Ricochet, for Moose and whoever, for Nick Nemeth and MJF, lights go down. Afterbirth interferes and causes a DQ in all of these matches. That's what should have happened. I think that would have left the fans very satisfied. I know people might have been expecting me to say, "Is Dark State?" We've passed that. Afterbirth is the new hot push here. They need something. They need something.
Yeah.
Imagine how much heat they would get for just interfering in these matches. Can you just wait for that Nick Nemeth and Lexis King match? Ooh, print money off of that one. Uriah Connors against Leon Slater? This is what we're really setting up here. We don't need Leon Slater and Ricochet. We don't need MJF and Nick Nemeth. We need the Afterbirth guys against the TNA guys. That's where we're at.
Please stop. Cinematics had asked a while ago about... There we go. Has WWE ever let talent work the indies in all of its history? If so, why? And did they stop letting talent work with them? So, yes, they have. In fact, most frequently last year for a Chris Bay benefit show, Killer Cross, who was still under WWE contract, or the Carrying Cross at the time, he got to work that show. And I think there were other WWE stars that were in discussion or did join. Did Zoe do that?
They still have WWE stars who work. They're going to be a part of Bloodsport.
They're part of Bloodsport.
They always work Bloodsport.
Yeah, I'm speaking specifically to that one show that I'm talking about. But yes, there's Bloodsport. There have been shows that they work, whether they're. I was using the Chris Bay show because going back to Leon, who was going to be on a Memorial Super show. It was it's not a charity show, but it is a show that's in honor of somebody. So yes, they do work dependent on the situation. Is Roman Reigns going to go and work, Creative Pro? No, he's not. Is he going to potentially go and work a show in Florida where he might know the owner, or there might be something, a greater relationship at play? There could be.
No.
I'm saying
no, he won't. No, you won't.
You don't know, man. John Cena, they had John Cena show up and do stuff with Vince. Like they've done stuff.
Roman Reigns and John Cena are two different people, especially where they're at in their careers then and now.
My point is when you're being asked to do it. And by whom you're asked to do it.
Roman ain't even showing up to Rikishi's event at Knox Pro or anything. He ain't showing up to none of this shit.
Roman didn't show up to Monday Night Raw this week.
Roman ain't showing up to Raw 2 weeks before Mania. He ain't showing up to these fucking shows in Florida.
It's going to be really funny when he does.
I hope he does, but Roman ain't the right example here.
Because my point was, I'm using, he went and delivered a bunch of pizzas to a children's hospital. My point was he has a relationship to certain people that goes beyond the business relationship he has with WWE. If one of those people said, I'm putting on a big show, not Paul White, would you consider, being a part of it? Whether that's
Roman's-
wrestling or not is another situation.
Roman's saying, I charge $500 on Cameo, brother. Go buy one. That's how I'll be on your show.
I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
It's a certain level of WWE star that they allow to work these independent shows. You'll have your NXT talent like a Charlie Dempsey on these outside of WWE shows. You'll have like the highest level on the main roster is the Natty. It's the Natties of the world. That's the level of superstar. I'm not saying that I view her at any level whatsoever. Whatever you view Natty's level at on the main roster, that is the highest level that they will allow someone to go and work for a show outside of WWE, an independent show of some kind. So that's what it seems like over the last couple of years, at least.
Yeah, Natty worked NWA, so there was that. That's another indie
Well,
thing.
that was a make good because they got the cocaine for them.
Yeah, they let Finn and JD did OTT, right? In Ireland? Wasn't that?
But OTT is also another one where, well, again, going back to the home promotion, and at one point OTT and WWE were working together on network stuff.
Yeah.
So
But
there's a connection there.
Yeah, using the example of WWE letting talent work indie shows. Those are
On its head, yes.
Yeah, my examples there. I think Cody would have been a better example instead of Roman to do an indie show in Georgia.
Cody working the
Cody
Nightmare
will show
Factory.
up. Yeah.
I'm using Roman because one day it's going to happen and I'm going to get to sit here and be like, I was right.
It's not.
It'll be my big, I will take a lap around the CN Tower that day.
That's fine. If that ever happens, that is fine.
And we're also using specifically for promotions, independent promotions that are not partners of WWE. I see people mentioning EO and Marigold. Man, I don't know about y'all, but I'll just say, I'll be the one to say it. Rossi be twerking for Triple H. That's a partner promotion. Noah, that's a partner promotion. Inamura did his excursion in NXT. That's a partner promotion. So those don't count.
Yeah. Noah's not even like an indie either.
Yeah, they're not. They're not independent companies either. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yes, they're partner promotions. They're not indies like we're talking about with GCW, the Bloodsport shows, even the OTT shows, and things like that. So, but there are certainly examples of WWE letting talent work indie shows. Again, the WWE ID stuff. How much they pay attention, how much they care, I don't know. I don't know how much they're really looking at this WWE ID stuff. Clearly, they don't have a problem with their WWE ID people losing, unless it's, the title's on the line, because then, well, you get an ID contract, so you kind of have to have a say over that. But the ID champions were losing on these indie shows. Like that's not an issue to them.
Gabe has a background, love him or hate him. Like Gabe does have a background on the indies. So like he wants to also respect what the indies are trying to do. And the only time that Gabe really needs to step in is when they're doing something related to the ID championship, whether it's a defense or trying to set up an angle. That's the only time like that we've seen where Gabe and co have been like, hold on, we gotta we want to do this match. We got to do this. And that's the only time that we've seen him or heard of him stepping in. Cause otherwise, no, he respects whatever house they're going into and knowing we're doing this talent. We're letting them in. We want them to work with you. Just don't mess them up and we're good. That's the end of it for ID talent.
Yeah.
All right, Joel, do you have anything else to add?
No, I'm going to hop off. I have a giant box, not the one you would usually talk about, that needs to be put inside of another box, not the one that you would. I'm going to go before this just turns 4.
I sent you a message. Please check it and answer me.
Oh, I mean, I feel like SB3 would be better to do this thing.
SB3, want to interview Hanare with me at 2:00?
He's got to do his show.
Yeah, I got to do my show.
Finish AE
with Jeremy Lambert at 2:00.
Finish AE Ramble early so I can do it with you instead of Joel.
What? I can't ask Kanare about his trips to Northern Australia?
SB3, finish AE Ramble early so I can do this interview with you instead of Joel.
It has to be at 2.
I mean, that's what he said. I don't really want to like be like, hey, can you actually do this time? I feel bad about that kind of stuff.
I do that all the time.
And don't feel bad. It was in 2 hours. He can do plenty of things in that time.
Can we do 2:30? Is 2:30 okay? I can't do it like past 3:00. So
No, okay.
that's the issue.
I think I can maybe push for 2:30.
Not like that much happened on Dynamite that you guys need to, do a 3-hour show.
We got to talk about Hanare on Dynamite.
Knowing Jimmy, he probably hated last night's Dynamite because I loved it.
I'm going to take you guys out for a nice seafood dinner, and then I'm going to put you up on the pole and watch people throw money at you. Because that's what Toxic does.
I don't even know what Joel's talking about at this point.
Talking about Tekla, did you not watch the Tekla or the segments?
I watched it.
I did.
Yeah, said she's gonna take Lexi Nair out for a nice seafood dinner, and then never call her back. No, and then bring her to a strip club and put her up on the pole. That's effectively what she said. And then said something about the dumbest bitch alive, and then by the end of the match, Jamie Hayter will be the dumbest bitch dead. And I thought that was fantastic. Tekla's
Joel's
great.
takeaway here is that
Quick, ask me my
that was Joel's moment. Yeah, I was going to say,
moment.
that was your moment of Wednesday.
My moment of
Tekla
Wednesday
promo.
was watching Tekla go toxic by putting someone on the pole and asking if they want to have a nice seafood dinner first.
Okay, fair.
Goodbye.
Bye. All right, do you want me to message and see if he can do 2:30?
Yes.
Can you? Okay, you can do 2:30.
I think I can push that.
Okay. All right, I'll send him an email. If not, then I guess I'm doing it with Joel.
Hey, I can give y'all some questions if anything.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, everybody. Oh shit! He's in Mountain Time, so because they're in Edmonton last night.
Yeah.
I'll blame the kids.
Very nice. He can go back to sleep. I love that.
All right, there. I asked for 2:30. I'll let you know if he messages during the show. All right. AEW Dynamite last night. Chris Jericho is now Prince. That was my biggest takeaway from this show. He's shortened his name to just one name. He's just Jericho. There's no Chris anymore.
No, it is Chris. It said it on the AEW Dynasty graphic.
On his graphic to the ring, it just said Jericho.
So that's a graphic to the wing. He's Chris Jericho on the graphic for AEW Dynasty, and he's still Chris Jericho on the roster page.
He's gonna get it changed. Chris Jericho's Prince because he's using one name and he's wearing purple. That's my takeaway. I got nothing else.
He needs to come
Dynamite.
out to his like karaoke version of Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Purple Rain. That's how Jericho would do it. Purple Rain.
Everyone complain about SP3 blowing ears out like you do with me. Oh no, this is terrible.
What happened?
Honore messaged me back and he said, that's great. So we can do 2:30. Just watch some of the live on X just now. Fuck!
That's awesome. Hey, Honore.
Do I need to apologize and be like, sorry? You sure you still want to do the show?
Hey, they had to get. I'm the expert at RA. I'm the New Japan fan.
I just said thank you and I'm sorry. We subjected you to that.
Tell Tony and Gato to get on here. We have to have the next conversation.
All right, let me set up the room for an RA.
That's awesome.
I don't know which portion he watched, but I hope it wasn't.
He heard me singing Purple Rain.
Yeah.
He was like, that woke me up.
Oh my gosh. Fuck. Okay, recording. I was like, what am I doing on setting up this room? I don't even know. All right. Thank you for doing that, by the way, SV3. Hey, you would be much better at it than Joel, because you actually watch New Japan and Joel doesn't. So
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
That's why
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of an RA. He looked great last night. I was so happy. So happy we had a long time of him. He was. Yeah, I mean, he felt like one of the MVPs of last night's show.
It was. We'll get into the United Empire stuff. I am gonna say, like, do you want to come on the live show now?
Why not?
Should I just invite him on now?
You should. Then I don't have to rush later.
It's
like if you're free now, like.
All right, so I just said, thank you. I'm sorry we subjected you to that. Here's the link to join at 2:30. If you want to join the live show now, just let me know. All right.
There we go. Let's see.
We'll see if an RA shows up now.
The chat wants you to come.
The
chat wants you now.
Chris Jericho. I think he's Brent's. He talks about being back in AEW and he is gonna re-sign his contract, or he's gonna sign his contract right there in the ring. He was interrupted by Ricochet and The Demand, and he said Jericho is old news. Get him out of here. In case you haven't noticed, we run the show now. And in the end, Jericho said, I get to pick my opponent for Dynasty. And for some reason, he picks Ricochet. Like, I don't know. You got a free opponent and you're going with the dude who has no titles or anything. Like, seems like a bad choice to me, but he picked Ricochet, and Ricochet made the list. SP3.
That got a big pop from the fans in attendance, and I like this Jericho segment. This had a lot of the stuff that last week didn't have. It felt like he was addressing his past, talking about, he's a risk taker throughout his career, and he took a risk when he went all in on AEW and signed with the promotion at the start. And he said he's taken risks before with the different gimmicks that he's taken, and some of them haven't landed that well. And he kind of took accountability for the learning tree and other things that haven't worked out for him in AEW or the fans did not like. So it was nice for him to go on this kind of, I'm going to take accountability for this type of stuff and babyface himself with the fan base. And then Ricochet was the perfect kind of troll or dickhead heel to kind of counteract him and get heat in opposition to Jericho. And the fans are going to favor Jericho over him. And I dug this. I like this whole setup for the matchup at Dynasty, and it really is one of the more important matches for Chris Jericho because he needs a strong performance to continue on the run that he's having right now, and to continue him being a babyface at the moment in AEW.
Do you think Jericho is gonna do like an identity crisis thing where he's gonna use the list? He's gonna do 1,004 holds.
He's gonna come up with the light up jacket.
The light up jacket. He's gonna do the suit. Like he just goes through. He's gonna be La Champion again. Bring the bubbly back. Yeah, Painmaker, because he actually thinks that one was good, which is hilarious. But do you think he's just gonna like just go through all of his gimmicks, and that's going to be his gimmick?
You need to shut the hell up.
I don't know. I'm interested to see where Jericho goes with this, because he's talked about it himself. Is he didn't want to do the list again? He's like, that was a WWE thing that we did it. It passed. We moved on. He's always talked about reinventing himself and everything, and for the most part, he's done an admirable job to do it for this long, this many times. And last night he used the list, so I am curious if he just kind of goes back to doing some stuff like that. And we'll see. We shall see. As things move on, he should wrestle. He should wrestle a style that is completely different, though. Just nothing but like headlocks and arm drags, because arm drag. Like he should not do like no lion salt.
He should do an arm bar. He should do different arm bars.
Arm bar, yeah. Yeah, like that's what he should do. He should just wrestle, like, no dives, no flips, none of that stuff. Just straight, old school punches and headlocks. And yeah, arm bars. That's it.
Then when he busts out a lion salt, it's like, oh my God, what a spot. He still can do it. You still got it. You still got it.
The Moss handled family tree what was it called? Three-handed Cardunza, whatever that.
Yeah, three-handed Cardunza.
That should be his. That should be his finisher.
He does the Fujiwara, the double arm bar, the cross arm breaker.
I got no issue with Jericho being back. I like Chris Jericho. He's fun. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's fun. I don't mind him. He should wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. He should tap out Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, that's his Forbidden Door matchup. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Jericho versus Zack Sabre Jr. in the first ever armbar submission match. You can only win with an armbar.
The show opened with Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley fighting in the back, and then the Death Riders attacked Ospreay, and then a black SUV pulled up. It was not Roman Reigns, because he doesn't show up to his own shows, and he definitely doesn't show up to indie shows. It was Alex Windsor. It was Alex Windsor, followed by the United Empire, including Hanare, Callum Newman, the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and Francisco Akira. So they did the big stare down thing, which I kind of think is stupid, but whatever. And then they started.
I loved it. I was like, Cinnamon, let's go. Let's go.
I think that's
I popped so huge for my guys United Empire. I was like, let's go. We here, yes. They came through for Will. They came through for the former leader. Let's go. About so much for Callum Newman being on AEW television with the beautiful V4 IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Oh my God. It was a glorious sight seeing them pull up with the title and them being in the signature United Empire suits like they're in the Thriller video. It's great. Let's go.
I'm glad they went back to that title. That title is much better than, the butterfly belt. The stare down thing is so just like movies that I'm always like, oh, really? Because in like a real fight, you ain't gonna like jump out and then be like, hey, come over here and let's all like stare at you. Like, your dude's getting jumped, you're gonna jump in there immediately. not just like, hey, let's all go to your side. I hate it when they do it in like war games and stuff. Like, it's just keep fighting, just keep fighting. But I was happy to see United Empire. I was like, oh shit, they got there quickly. Ospreay said, hey, can you be here? And they were like, yeah, we can be here. Nah, I know
they all took the flight together. They took the flight together. And yeah, Alex Windsor being there too. That was awesome. His missus.
Good.
His missus.
She needed to be there. She's facing Marina at the pay-per-view, so she needed to be there. No, I understand that it is cinema. It's we make movies, pal. But it's just always funny to me when they do that. Like, just fight. Come on now.
This was an awesome opening segment overall. I thought the brawling was fun. The crowd got into it. And I was like, okay, this is going to set up maybe following Dynasty. They'll do like Anarchy in the Arena or Stadium Stampede at Double or Nothing. They probably will. But the fact that we got Chaos in Canada, I was like, they came up with another TV version of Anarchy in the Arena. Let's go. I'm here for it. Let's do it. And oh man, that matchup. Phenomenal stuff. That was a great like anything goes multi-man tag. Everybody stood out in their own way, especially on the United Empire side. Like, I think that this was one of the best like pieces of business towards Forbidden Door that AEW has done in like 4 years, probably since the original Forbidden Door, because it immediately, like, if you did not know United Empire, it kind of introduced you to everybody. The first brawl, really, Hanare stood out from the start. Hanare coming in there and not backing down from Moxley or Claudio, having the different exchanges with Claudio, roaring for the crowd, and the crowd's like getting into him, even though if they knew him or didn't know him, watch in New Japan or not, they were like, no, we like this guy. This guy looks awesome. He's got the tattoo on the face. He's roaring. He's showing that he ain't backing down from nobody. These guys are hitting clotheslines, and he's hitting a wall, basically. And then finally you have, I like the whole story from the brawl as well as in the matchup was anytime Will was in trouble, it was specifically Callum Newman who would step in and make the save for him. So it's also tying the seed and telling the story of the Callum Newman and Will Ospreay relationship, the student mentor, the student mentor relationship that they have, and the fact that Callum has kind of stepped up to the plate and really kind of taken a position of leadership in the United Empire in Will's absence. And now he's coming through. He's making the save for Will and bringing his group to help him have some backup against Jon Moxley and the Death Riders, and coming through almost immediately, even though he just won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and kind of seemed annoyed when Will asked him for help right after his title win, but he still came through for his former mentor. Great stuff all around, storytelling and the action between the brawl to kick off the show and Chaos in Canada.
What'd you make of them pinning Moxley? Because there are obviously guys you could pin in this match, and you're pinning the guy who you have the big match against on Sunday.
The only reason that scares me is the same reason that Obafemi getting the better of Brock Lesnar scares me, is that Jon Moxley's going to win on Sunday. And don't do that. Can I just say that? Don't do that. That is the wrong decision. You either do a time limit draw or you don't have Moxley win. And I'm not just saying that because I have a bet with Jimmy Macaram, who is the #1 Jon Moxley hater and believes that Jon Moxley will win every single matchup because Tony Khan hates him. It's not because I have a bet with him about this matchup. It's mostly because Jon Moxley should not be beating Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay should not be losing any pay-per-view matches until he wins the AEW World Championship. He should go undefeated or not lose at least on a pay-per-view, and especially not his first pay-per-view match back after all this time off. Please no.
Ospreay is one of these dudes, and this is the problem with professional wrestling today, is these dudes want to lose, and I'm tired of that.
Me too.
What are we doing? Politic to win these matches, folks. Stop trying to lose. Ospreay's the type of dude like, well, it's a better story if my neck is hurt and I can't beat Moxley like this, and I do need help from my friends, and I do need to be in more of a hardcore environment type of thing. Like that's a better story than me just coming back and immediately winning this championship after all this. No, forget all that. Just win. Knock it off, Will. Tired of that bullshit of, oh, let me lose, bruv. No, win these matches.
All I do is
I saw that finish and I
no
was like,
matter
ooh.
what.
I was like, okay. All right. I don't know if that spells good things for Ospreay on Sunday. I saw somebody in the chat say that Newman is going to cost
I saw
okay, the
that
goat
too.
coming in.
Hello.
I got a cookie.
You showing the people you eating a cookie? Are you giving me a cookie? Or no?
That's mine.
Oh, that's yours. Both of them. You have two.
Beast. She said, look, yo, I got these 2 cookies. You ain't getting shit, Dad. She said, that's mine. Look at these cookies. They are for me. Peace out. I
She
saw
just came
somebody.
in. She just came in to just brag that she had two
Yeah.
cookies. That's great.
I respect it. See, we need more of that in wrestling too. She's like, I ain't sharing this cookie with you. I'm taking these cookies for myself.
She was showing. She heard her discussion. She was like, "I'm gonna show you what Will Ospreay should do. He should have
Yeah.
2 cookies. He should have his win on Dynamite and have his win at Dynasty."
Will Ospreay out here being like, oh yeah, you want this cookie? You can have this cookie. It's okay, Moxley. You can have this cookie. Do you want this one too? You sure you don't want this one? I know I took a bite out, but you sure you don't want this one as well? Get out of here with that. I saw people saying that Newman cost Ospreay at Dynasty. It is Continental rules, so there should be no interference or they get fired, but Newman doesn't work for the
He doesn't work
company.
with the company.
So
Yeah.
like it would make sense if they did it there. I don't know if they shoot that angle on an
No.
AEW show though. That's where I'm caught.
I don't mind them shooting it on an AEW show, but it feels like you are like blowing your load way too early. And especially after how Dynamite ended with the United Empire, it doesn't make any sense for him to then turn around after he just helped Will on Dynamite, turn around and cost him the matchup on Sunday. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. I don't think they go with it there. So I think Moxley just kind of beats Ospreay, and because Ospreay has a banged up neck, and so he can't beat Jon Moxley at this point in time. Down the line we shall see, but at this point
Go to the time limit draw. You already said it's only 20 minutes, even though you said previously that the pay-per-view is 60 minutes. But hey, I'm not going to hold that against you. You're saying that it's only 20 minutes. Let them have a nice little 20-minute matchup, middle of the show or beginning of the show. That and you can go back to the matchup with no time limit in the Owen Hart Cup, and then Ospreay wins there.
Yeah, I could see that. Elsewhere on the show, the main event segment, I did like, and we've talked about this over the past few weeks. AEW's gotten a lot better about this. The show long narratives on this show. We started with the brawl, and then the it wasn't the closing segment, but the main event match was the Death Riders and United Empire. So that's once again them doing, from start to finish, kind of having a through line through the show, and I think that does.
And they also
a lot.
And it's good that they have, like, they not only had that, they also had another kind of show multi segment story that they told with them. Finally, they heard us. I'm telling you, Tony Khan watches in the weeds. They finally turned the heat on the stove of Takeshita and Okada after us talking about that for weeks now. Yes, they needed to, and they finally turned on the heat. I don't know if they turned it up to maximum, but they definitely turned on the heat to Okada and Takeshita.
Well, they can't turn it up to maximum because if Don Callis is to be believed, the match isn't happening until Double or Nothing. So they still have like a month and a half before
Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan.
When Callis was like, I need you to be Michael and Scottie, I told the wife, I was like, Okada better say he's Jordan. Like, he better say he's Jordan. And so when Okada was like, I'm Michael Jordan, I popped so big. I was like, hell yeah, Okada, that's what I want to hear.
I was like, yes, certainly. I agree. I agree. Okada is the GOAT. And I like the fact that they didn't do their usual shtick of them beating up their opponents and then having the shoving matchup. Nah, they scrapped. They scrapped.
Yeah.
They started hitting each other. They was like, nah, enough of this. We scrapping. It's been a while since we've been in the ring together. I just helped you with the Bucks, but bump all that. I don't like you. You don't like me. Let's just scrap. And they scrapped for a bit. The rest of the Don Callis family separated them. And then you had the Bucks and the Rascals get the better of them with the nice little dives, leave them laying. That came after another really dope trios matchup that they had on the show with the Don Callis family, Andrade El Idolo, Konosuke Takeshita, and Mark Davis picking up a win over Jack Perry, Darby Allin, and Bandito. I thought it was interesting that they had Jack Perry take the loss here. I understand they didn't want to pin Darby before he has a big pay-per-view matchup
out here.
Hey, you didn't want Darby to lose because he's in a big matchup on the pay-per-view, but you had two other options and you chose the AEW national champion over the Ring of Honor world champion. So
that
kind of tells you where on the totem pole the national title is.
That felt like, and I know Andrade got the pinfall here. It felt like it was going to be a setup for Davis and Perry for the national title. I'm not saying a dynasty, but because I mean, Mark Davis sort of did the work there before Andrade came in to get the pinfall. So that's what I felt like when Perry got pinned. And Andrade just beat Bandito, so maybe they didn't want Andrade beating Bandito again.
Fair.
But it did feel like I honestly think Davis should have just pinned Perry to set up that program instead of Andrade getting the win. But no, what can you do there? And I think they were just mainly protecting Bandito of like, we don't want him losing again to Andrade on this. That was a really fun match, though. That was really fun. Yeah. Elsewhere,
that roll through German that Takeshita did to Darby was ridiculous.
I like that. Yeah, I like that, but I also thought like he was gonna do almost the Bucks. I know the Bucks is a front face lock suplex, where they do that suplex.
Yeah, Northern Lights. The Northern Lights.
Yeah, Northern Lights, you're right. The way he was like rolling on the ramp, it just looked kind of awkward. I was like, I know he's about to hit a German suplex, but it just looks awkward. You're just rolling down with this man right here.
It's like a chaos. He basically did the chaos theory. On the floor, which was good. I love whenever Takeshita goes at it with Darby. They have great chemistry with
because Darby doesn't care.
I remember that match 2 years ago.
Yeah, Darby doesn't care, and Takeshita just friggin' wallops people, so it rules. I mean, speaking of wall, like the worst thing in this was when they swung Darby, and I don't know if they overshot.
They overshot. They definitely overshot. They wanted to put him through the table. That would have been a softer landing than tossing him right into chairs and a barricade.
I agree that they probably wanted to put it through the table. I also think Darby was like, just throw me wherever I land, I land. Like, who cares? Like, it's fine. It'll be okay. I know Darby likes that spot. I feel like he's going to die every time. Because remember when, Cage and Archer did it, and his head hit the rope, and he looked like he whiplashed himself? That spot looks like it sucks every single time, because I don't know if it's like they don't realize how strong they are, or they don't realize how light Darby is, but they don't hit shit when they do that. They just toss that man. It's like, if he dies, he dies. Whatever. Wherever he lands, ain't my problem. Takeshita and Hobbs. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was. I forgot.
That was Takeshita and Hobbs versus Sting and Darby.
Yeah.
That was in Jacksonville. I remember that one.
It's just an absurd every single time they do it. And it's not often, but every single time they do it, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to kill this poor guy.
It's insane to me that Darby's only really had like one injury in the 7 years he's been in AEW. You would think,
Yeah, and it was just off of like a dive where he hit his foot on the barricade. Like it wasn't even like the worst thing that could happen to him. He got the CM Punk injury.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that this guy who just gets his body used as just like tossing a box out if you're working in like a stock area, and he only has like one injury to his name. That's insane.
Absolutely insane. But bless Darby Allin. He's out there to die, and he he looks like he gets killed every single time. Main event segment between Kenny Omega and MJF. Dapper Kenny Omega. He went EVP responsibilities with how he was dressed on this, and he addressed MJF saying, what bothered me last week? Was it the Ibushi stuff? No, not really. Was it the diverticulitis? Nah, that gets brought up every week. He's like, he's gotten old. I was like, yeah, thank you, Kenny. I agree with you. I'm tired of this being a thing.
I did like they did the Doc Samson interview. That was a great like check-in interview with him being like, I don't know what MJF is talking about. Like it's like he's fine. He's wrestling. This is the best that Kenny's been. I was like, oh, that's great. I love it.
Yeah. I did like you mentioned Through Threads, and this was kind of another one where they did the video packages for both MJF and Kenny, and as you said,
two
of
the best video packages of the year so far for AEW. Both of them.
And then obviously Kenny's promo at the end is like, what bothers me is AEW used to be where it was the best wrestling, and all you want to do is out here and just talk. And I'm the god of pro wrestling, and he lost his cool because it was all on him to write the legacy and save the place where the best should wrestle and put the belt on somebody where the best actually wrestle. And that AEW deserves a champion who wears the belt with pride and will be the best wrestler ever. And you're going to get the absolute best version of Kenny Omega, not the guy you faced 3 years ago at this point? 2 years ago?
Yeah,
3, right?
3 years. Nearly 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been that long. MJF comes out, and I agree with MJF here. And like, wait, in 2026, you're better than me? And look, I think Kenny Omega is still kind of better than MJF, but let's not pretend like MJF ain't at a top tier professional wrestler out here. Come on now. What are we doing with MJF? Oh, he I know it wasn't a full like he can't wrestle, but like MJF is kind of one of one in a lot of aspects out here. And he talked about the deep down he and the fans are scared shitless. I thought that was another diverticulitis joke, but maybe I was reading too much into it. And that this is the last shot at the championship. The clock is ticking. And he mentioned the last time they wrestled, and he said, okay, fine, you were injured then, you're 100% now, so what's your excuse going to be at this point? And then Omega was like, all right, we can shake hands and go on our separate ways, and it'll be a great main event on Sunday. And MJ, of course, tried to do a cheap shot, and Omega hit him with the V-trigger, laid him out, took the ring, and he said, Sunday is going to end with good night, goodbye, bang. I think I got the order wrong. It's goodbye, good night, bang, right? Something like
that. Yeah.
Sorry, I screwed up the catchphrase.
It's goodbye, wah, good night, bang.
Yeah. I thought it was a good segment. I thought it was a little bit long than it needed to be, but otherwise, I thought it was very good.
I thought this was a tremendous piece of wrestling business. I thought this was probably the best go home segment that they've had for a pay-per-view main event. Probably to me since the police interrogation room between Moxley and Darby ahead of Wrestle Dream. I don't think like a lot of the go home segments for the pay per view main events for like Full Gear or World's End or even Revolution, which we were very critical of that whole press conference they did, were as strong as this one. I thought the promo by Kenny Omega was absolutely excellent, probably his best babyface promo that he's done on AEW television. He talked with passion, he talked with conviction, he had a clear and concise message. I don't think it was that long. I think it was concise. I think he was clearly stating that he is about he addressed why he got upset, why he lost his cool last week, what he's trying to accomplish at Dynasty, and why he needs to win the AEW World Championship. All of that was great to me, and I thought MJF is always great with his responses and coming off as this cocky dickhead heel in response to Omega being this valiant babyface. I thought that whole dynamic worked really well with one another. And then I like the payoff of it where Omega outsmarted MJF yet again. And MJF, I thought he should have kept the Dynamite Diamond Ring to kind of say, like, this is not going to be a factor since this was so important to his victory at Revolution. I thought it would have made more sense if Omega took the Dynamite Diamond Ring away from him completely so he couldn't use it on, even though probably MJF has 5 other of those because he's won 6 of them. So he probably still had another one in the chamber, but he could have took that away from him and say that's not going to be a factor come Sunday. So I thought all of this worked really well, and I thought it sold the pay-per-view. Like between the United Empire and Death Rider self selling the matchup between Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay, and then this promo at the end, and especially combined with the video packages, which were just the Omega one especially was incredible stuff, talking about his importance to professional wrestling, and then MJF's meteoric rise in AEW. It made it feel like these are the 2 biggest stars in all of AEW and 2 of the biggest stars in all of professional wrestling, and you guys have to see what these guys are going to do, like Omega said, in this legendary matchup in the main event of the pay-per-view. So it got me more excited for the matchup on Sunday, and that's all I can ask for from a go-home segment.
I thought it was very good. I probably would have cut it by a couple minutes, but that's just me. Sure. Kenny Omega talking about we're the best wrestle and now we're talking, and then stood out there talking for 15 minutes. It's like, why don't you wrestle somebody, Kenny?
His promo was exactly 8 minutes long. I did do the count.
15 minutes.
He came out at 10:10 p.m. Eastern. His promo side was done at 10:18 p.m. Eastern, and then MJF came out. His promo was about like 5 minutes, and then the ending portion was like 2 minutes.
As I said, he was talking for 15 minutes out here. Part of me did think
actually half. I counted exactly half.
Part of me did think that Kenny was like, I'm gonna go out here and prove that like I can do a main event promo, and that's why it was a little bit longer than maybe it needed to. I did think the material was good. Don't get me wrong. Like I agree with you on like he addressed the things he needed to address. Like I thought the material was good. I was just like, you maybe could have cut a minute or 2 off of this. But otherwise, I thought it accomplished everything it needed to accomplish. And when pieced together with Doc Samson and with the video packages was super effective all night for this match and selling the importance of this match. So elsewhere on the card, Tommaso Ciampa beat Mascara Dorada. It was announced before the show that Kyle Fletcher was going to be out for months, and that due to that, he would have to vacate the AEW TNT Championship, and a casino gauntlet would take place at Dynasty for the TNT title.
Disappointed I didn't just think about the casino gauntlet. We would think about ladder match and stuff. Casino gauntlet.
Yeah, because ladder match would have been funny because they would have.
It's go-to.
Yeah, they just went casino gauntlet. That's fine. They went casino gauntlet. Cool. It was a fine match between Ciampa and Dorado. I don't have a ton to say about it.
Yeah, good match. They worked really well with each other. Tommaso Ciampa has been one of the best TV wrestlers in AEW since he signed. So that was a lot of fun, and he worked really well with Mascara Dorada. But as far as like the matches on this show, I would say it was probably my least favorite, even though it was a good matchup.
Yeah. Casino Gauntlet, we will see. People are saying so. Okay. Meet Ormus says Jericho should publicly apologize to Sammy Guevara. Also, if Keith Lee is in the TNT casino, whatever, I'll start eating Brussels sprouts again. I don't think you are going to get Keith Lee in this. People saying Swerve as the champion. People saying Kevin Knight. People saying Mark Davis. I could see Mark Davis winning it. I think the TNT title is kind of beneath Swerve at this point. Yeah. He doesn't feel like a TNT champion to me.
Yeah, I don't understand why he would go after the TNT title after he's been so obsessed with the AEW World Championship.
I actually think that it's more likely that Swerve shows up at the end of the main event and goes after. I think Kenny Omega's winning on Sunday, so he goes after Kenny. To reignite that. That's my official predictions on things. Yeah, Hangman showing up here since he can't be the world champion is a possibility. That feels very Cody-ish though, because that's kind of literally what they did with Cody.
That's literally what they created the TNT title for Cody.
So that feels a little Cody-ish. I'm like, oh, I get the TNT title now. But I could see Hangman winning that. You can go back to Ciampa. Ciampa had a very short reign because I don't think he was ever supposed to be the champion. He just happened to come to the company and they were like, hey, let's put the title on Ciampa. So you could see that. I could see that as well.
Yeah, I think Ciampa has to be a candidate. Mark Davis, because he's been so kind of prominent on AEW television over the last couple of weeks, and he is the tag team partner, the original tag team partner of Kyle Fletcher. That would make a lot of sense. Kevin Knight has been on a roll as of late. That would make a lot of sense if they wanted to kind of give him finally a big title win. Speedball Mike Bailey kind of has been in the chase for the TNT championship after he came up short against Kyle Fletcher, and it is in Vancouver, is in Canada. It would make sense to give like a Canadian boy a championship win a la Dustin Rhodes winning at All In Texas. So yeah, all of those make a lot of sense to me as far as who can win the Casino Gauntlet. I mean, I'm sad to hear about the news of Kyle Fletcher. We kind of talked about it on Tuesday that it kind of seemed like he was going to be out for a while following the report from Fightful Select. So hopefully, he has a speedy and healthy recovery. It was good news. Tony Khan saying that he does expect Kyle Fletcher to be back before the end of the year. So we'll see how long Kyle is going to be out, and we'll see who's going to step up and become the TNT champion. But the Casino Gauntlet is a fun matchup to add to the card. It's always kind of produced a very good matchup on an AEW pay-per-view, so I'm looking forward to that one on the Dynasty card.
Queen Aminata returned to the ring. She faced Willow Nightingale. She did not win, but it was good to see Queen Aminata back after being out since September with the neck injury, because she was supposed to be blowing guts.
Yeah, November.
Her last match was October though, right?
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. Yeah, but she was deemed out of action in November. But yeah, I'm so happy. I'm happy for Queen Aminata because no one does beat the hell out of each other matchup in the women's division quite like Queen Aminata. She knows how to lay in those strikes, lay in the headbutt. Everything that she does feels very realistic, very believable. Everything that she does in the ring, and she worked really well with Willow. Like the whole story of the matchup where early on she got Willow with the handshake and then getting her for the near fall. I like Sheeta being in the crowd watching this matchup, continuing a little rivalry that seems to be brewing with Sheeta and Willow Nightingale. Nightingale over the TBS championship, because I think that you can do the open challenges and stuff, and that helps to kind of prove Willow is a fighting champion. And the fact that she has 6 title defenses, when I think it was like a month ago, everybody was talking about, oh, Willow hasn't been defending that much. It's not like she's a TBS champion because she hasn't defended it that much, but she's defended it 6 times in 3 months. Like that, yeah. So she's been making up for lost time, back-to-back AEW shows where she had title defenses, and a very, very good matchup with Queen Amanada, who didn't look like she missed a step out there. So like what they did in the ring last night, and I like the fact that there seems to be a story brewing for the TBS championship as well.
Cope and Christian came out. Cope said nothing of importance, and Christian said, "I fucked your moms." And then they got beat.
This is why Christian Cage has always, and right now is, the best part of this tag team. I banged your moms. Stokely, I didn't forget about your moms. I just wanted to bang her when I become the AEW World Tag Team Champion.
Dude, Christian being like, your fathers are dead and I fucked your moms is so hilarious. So
Christian Cage. Best babyface in wrestling today.
FTR. Well, I mean, it wasn't just FTR. Rocky and Trent came out and attacked them because they got beat up by Cope and Christian on Collision or Dynamite.
They came from behind, kind of like Christian with FTR's moms.
We don't know that. Let's not cast assertions on how Christian conducts his business here. It's private.
Like what you did there. That's one of his catchphrases. Pipe down while I conduct my business. That's what he told FTR in their bedrooms. He said, pipe down while I conduct my business with your mothers.
He said, pipe down while I pipe your mom. Out here. They put Christian's arm in a chair, and Stokely stole his watch in the middle of that, and then they stomped on Christian's arm. So we'll see what happens at Dynasty. I still think Cope and Christian are winning on this. It was.
I think Cope and Christian are winning. I'm not too sure about your prediction of Kenny Omega. Omega getting the jump on MJF to close the show makes me think that MJF will still retain. I think they can. Maybe it's not the last time Kenny Omega gets a title shot. I think that Kenny probably should have another reign as AEW World Champion. I will, like I said, I've said multiple times, I would love to see Omega Ospreay 3 in Wembley Stadium, but I don't know how you take the title right now off of Max when he's in like Wrestler of the Year mode.
I'm with you, and that's why I do have a hard time seeing MJF losing, because I'm not sure he should lose it all until All In and likely Ospreay, and even then I don't even know if I'd have him lose there depending on where things stand. But I don't think he goes clean through this to All In with the title. I do think there's a loss at some point. And I don't know if it's Kenny this week. They're clearly setting up Darby as the next contender. So maybe it's Darby at Double or Nothing. And I don't know if Darby's going to walk into...
Maybe you do the Darby match on TV after the pay-per-view. And Omega's like saying, I'll put anything up. Because you know MJF, he'll always kind of give in to giving a title shot to someone he doesn't want to face. If they put something up and they do title versus career at Double or Nothing between Omega and MJF.
I don't know if they need to go back to something like that. Because we just
I think they're still meat in the bone with Omega and MJF rivalry.
Oh, I'm with you on that. Like I think that as well. But we just did Hangman can't challenge for the title. We just did Omega puts on his EVP spot. I don't know if we need to go.
This is the culmination trilogy of stakes. Trilogy of stakes.
Okay. All right. I see what you're getting at there. All right. I don't know if that's gonna happen because I kind of think Darby's beating MJF for the title if MJF. Still has the title.
No! Ew! No! Please, God, no! Please, dear Lord, no! What are we talking about here? Ugh.
We'll see what we're talking about in a month or two when we get this Darby and MJF match and Darby comes out victorious.
Does AEW want to sell tickets for All In?
I'm not saying that Darby walks into All In as the champion because I don't think that's actually happening. But I do think Darby beats MJF for the title somehow, or Darby gets the title. It might beat Omega for it, but I think Darby ends up as the champion sooner rather than later.
So
and beating MJF makes the most sense. Which
we got top draw MJF. We got Kenny Omega, who drew the biggest number on TV of the year with Swerve Strickland in his second matchup. Very, very logical that he could win the title. Will Ospreay at Wembley Stadium. Very logical he win the title. And you're telling me Darby Allin is going to be the AEW World. That is kind of like if this was Darby Allin in 2024 coming off the Sting run, yeah, sure. This was Darby Allin at the end of last year coming off the win against Jon Moxley at I Quit. Yeah, sure. This is Darby Allin coming off a feud with the Dogs and Gabe Kidd that had that coffin match that only me, Jimmy Macaram, and like 5 other people like that matchup.
And if Jimmy likes it, you know it was bad.
Exactly.
I'm actually rethinking Kenny winning on Sunday because now I've talked myself into Darby beating MJF, so it doesn't make any sense. I think Darby's gonna win this title at some point this year. It's just gonna happen.
Oh, what are we doing? What do we want this hot streak to continue? I'm a Darby fan. I like Darby. I like Darby way more than most people. But we gotta understand, guys. We missed the peak with Darby Allin. This is like WWE trying to tell me that Sami Zayn's gonna win the WWE Championship next year at WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. You're like 3 years late. You're like at least a year late with Darby. He should have never climbed that mountain.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, All In last year was his moment, and he decided to go climb the mountain, which fair play to him. That's what he wanted to do. But he was definitely hot coming off of the Moxley stuff last year. But this year, there hasn't been much to whatever he's been doing. So I'm with you. I just think it's going to happen. Like, they're clearly positioning him to get this title shot. He's going to beat Andrade.
Yeah, no. I'm all for it. I'm totally fine with Darby Allin getting a title shot. What I'm arguing, and I'm not even arguing that Darby Allin isn't a main eventer in AEW. I think that he is. But Darby Allin becoming AEW World Champion feels like you are just convoluting this whole AEW World title picture when it's pretty simple what you need to do. You either ride it out with MJF to All In and do MJF and Will Ospreay 3, or you have Omega win the title from MJF and then he defends it against Ospreay at All In. Darby Allin against Will Ospreay is like the least option out of those two options. Out of the 3 options here.
I don't think Darby walks into All In the champion, though. That's the thing, is I think he wins the title. I don't think he keeps it long. Like, I don't think he holds it for, honestly, like more than a month, if I'm being truthful here. I just think he's going to beat MJF or somebody for the title, but then drop it back to MJ. I think MJF walks into All In as the champion. I do. I just don't think it's a straight through thread of he's the champion now and he's going to continue to be the champion until All In. I think he loses it at some point before then but does end up regaining it.
You can do Omega wins on Sunday in Canada, and then Max wins it back in New York. They both win in their home states.
Okay.
Or home countries.
The only problem with that scenario is that Darby Allin doesn't win in that scenario, and he's
exactly. I'm totally
going
fine
to get
with
this
that.
title.
I'm totally fine with that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm not mad at Kenny wins on Sunday, because that was my original prediction, and I've kind of talked myself out of it now with this Darby stuff. I'm not mad if Kenny wins on Sunday and then loses it back to MJF at Double or Nothing, and then we go from there. I'm not, but we shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
And mind you, I'm not saying that Jeremy's wrong or all of y'all in the chat who seem to be convinced that Darby's
Correct.
winning. I'm not saying that y'all are incorrect. Y'all are probably right. I'm saying that is the incorrect decision to make. That is what
fair.
I'm saying.
No. And that's completely fair. Like, truthfully, I wouldn't take it off MJF at all right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's, to me, no real reason to do that based on how things have gone this year.
Yeah.
I would continue to build MJF as the champion that he's been, continue to throw challengers to his way, and he gets by them until Ospreay at All In. Like, that's where I would continue to go with this. I just don't think that's their plan, but we shall see. A few super chats here. King of the North says, "Find the remote, still tag champs." Huh. I do actually like that name for FTR. Matthew Oak saying, Dynasty has 9 matches. What else would you add? Not a fucking thing.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. The only thing I would add, if we're being honest, is another women's match, because one women's match on an AEW card seems
fair.
like a downgrade from the last couple of pay-per-views where we've had multiple women's matches, especially like Revolution that had 3 on the main card, 1 on the pre-show. If you're going to do maybe like a TBS Open Challenge, have another TBS Open Challenge with Willow Nightingale defending the title there. That makes sense to me. So yeah, that was the only thing that I would probably add to the card. Everything else, no, you're going to have like 10 different people in the Casino Gauntlet. No one else needs to get on the card. And you already got Bucks versus Okada and Takeshita, which I think is going to be a killer matchup. I'm looking forward to that matchup a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't add much of any. I do agree with you on the women's match, because they got the 0-hour match between Marina and Windsor, so that's the other match. Yeah, you can do a Willow Open Challenge, since that's been a thing that they've been doing. I don't know who answers it, though. You're not bringing back Mercedes in that spot to most likely lose. I wouldn't do that. Oh, I mean, who? Let's say they do an Open Challenge. Who answers it? Harley Cameron, just for the bit. Yeah.
Ooh, Harley or Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I'm going to keep calling for it, even though it's not happening. I'm not going to
She's going to JCW, man. She's going to JCW.
I know. She's going to JC Dub. JC Dub. But yeah, there's a lot of women that haven't been used on AEW television in a while that can make a comeback. If you want to have someone from outside AEW come in, Danny Luna. That would be a cool spot for Danny Luna to make an AEW debut and challenge Willow Nightingale, probably in a losing effort, but still have a strong showing on the pay-per-view. So those would be my shouts.
Okay, Danny Luna is a good call. I don't mind that. I do wonder if they held off on Danny Luna because she is wrestling on TNA tonight, and so they didn't want to have her showing up on, kind of still showing up on TNA television when she's on AEW contract, and I assume she's losing tonight. Warner Brothers said, no, we can't have our talent losing on AMC promotion, so we'll bring her in afterwards on this.
Yeah.
I do wonder if that's why they held off on Danny Luna, because she still had one more TNA match to air, even though she is a free agent.
Who is she facing tonight?
You can't expect TNA. Come on.
We talked about TNA for most of the half of the show.
I know. But
that was a lot. That took a lot out of you.
It did. Joel's gonna make me talk more about it tomorrow. Like,
oh man, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
She's facing Jada Stone. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I assume Jada Stone wins. I don't think it'd be hilarious if Danny Luna won. Like, peace. Won this last match. Like, she asked her for her release after the match.
After she
already
won.
Yeah.
She's like,
They're like, can we reshoot this? Can we go back out there and redo the finish? Like, nah.
Nah,
I'm out.
Here's my notice.
I'm out of here. What was your moment of a Wednesday, SP3?
My moment of Wednesday had to be the United Empire being on AEW television. I'm a huge New Japan Pro Wrestling fan. That is the promotion I favored the most, and seeing that beautiful IWGP Heavyweight Championship on television. Love the story that they told with introducing the group and having them back up Ospreay, the whole Ospreay Callum Newman element of it, and a big showcase for Hanare and Francisco Akira. So love that.
My moments of Wednesday is Christian Cage appealing to me by fucking. Bless a man who stays fucking.
Always fucking. He always fucking putting that pound of flesh.
Results of our poll question: who do you blame in TNA pulling talents from indie shows? 63% said TNA, 6% said AMC, 22% WWE, and 9% the fans. I like how the fans get more blame than AMC. I know people were doing a bit, but it's just very funny that the fans have more blame than AMC.
It's ridiculous, but still funny all at the same time.
Yeah, very funny.
I don't blame him. I don't blame y'all.
Anything else today? SB3 that we need to?
I think I have.
We have matches. Match? Yeah, you have matches. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I think I have some.
All right.
Associated. I'm putting it down now. Okay, there we go. Yeah. I'll give y'all 5 this week. I got an honorable mention for El Clone versus Mystico versus Soberano Jr. from the 83rd anniversary of Arena Coliseum from CMLL. That was an excellent main event matchup to that show. Then number 5, I got Mystico and Jet Speed versus the Don Callis family, Hechicero, El Clone, and Volador Jr. from last Friday's CMLL. Just an action-packed trios matchup with Mystico and Jet Speed just being loved and adored from that Arena Mexico crowd, and the Don Callis family making a great showing in a losing effort there. Then number 4, I got Lola Vice, Kendall Gray, and JC Jane from Stand and Deliver from last Saturday. Excellent opener to that show. These 3 ladies are 3 of the best in WWE. And I think this matchup here was probably the best women's matchup in WWE so far this year. I know that's a very low bar, but still, I'm going to say that. Then I got number 3 from last night's AEW Dynamite, Chaos in Canada. Just a phenomenal main event matchup. It was just so chaotic. It was carnage candy. You had violence on display, hatred. All the Will Ospreay and John Moxley portions of the matchup were physically intense and really built up and hyped you up for their one-on-one matchup at Dynasty. Number 2, Callum Newman versus Yoda Tsuji from NJPW Sakura Genesis. I don't know what to say. Tremendous matchup between these 2 guys. A near 5-star effort from both guys. I thought Callum Newman was a great heel in the matchup. Yoda Tsuji always steps up in the big time matches, especially when Jake Lee is not across the ring from him. And he stepped up here against Callum Newman and put him over in a huge way at one of the biggest shows of New Japan's year. But this one I will give 5 stars to. Number 1 this week, KOB versus TMDK from NJPW Sakura Genesis 2026. The best tag team match of the year. I'm saying it now. I love FTR and the Young Bucks from Revolution. I loved Yuya Uemura and Shota Umino versus Tomohiro Ishii and Tai Chi from earlier this year as well. I love the Spark Rush tag team matches for the Joshi world, but these four guys went out there and just told an amazing story. The Yuto Ice and Roye Uiwa portion of the matchup where they went like the last 10 minutes and had their own singles match with Yuto Ice giving some of the best selling that you will see in wrestling this year, taking off the tape, banging his arm to put it back in place against the turnbuckle and breaking it over Uiwa's chin. Uiwa with all of his suplex and his submission attempts. Zack Sabre Jr. coming in there. The selling from Oscar. This was just absolutely outstanding stuff from all four men. Best tag team match of the year so far for me, and the best match of the week.
I promised on last week that on Tuesday I was going to do my worst of the month, and then I forgot.
You did.
Because,
you did.
In fairness to me, I was a little out of sorts on Tuesday. So
yeah,
I mean, I'll still take the blame, but I was out of sorts on Tuesday, as people who watch Tuesday's show may or may not know. But I do have my worst of the month, SP3, for the month of March. Okay.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Do you want my fake list or my real list?
Let's hear the fake list.
Number 5, MJF and Hangman Page. This match had too much blood, too much violence. Why are we using skewers? Why are we using syringes through the cheeks?
Callbacks.
Didn't like it.
Callbacks.
Didn't need it.
Nah. 5 stars.
Didn't need any of it. 5.5 stars. Number 4. Kenny Omega versus Swerve Strickland.
Oh my god, this guy's a troll.
I put it at 4. It probably should have been higher, honestly. It wasn't as bad as their first match in February, because that match went 3 minutes too long. But it was still pretty terrible. I'm going to get through this whole thing, I promise. Number 3, Swerve Strickland and Brody King. It should have ended on a count out. Why did we do a 1 count kick out? Knock that bullshit off. There were too many of those on this show altogether.
Okay.
Number 2, Andrade against Bandito. It should have ended when Bandito hit the lifting 21 plex. It went on too long. They missed the peak of the match. And number 1, the Young Bucks against FTR. I'd already seen this match like 5 times before. Good job of just rehashing every single thing you did previously. And you had the baby faces lose in front of their family. That's WWE booking. Those were my 5 worst matches of the month.
Okay, what's your real list now?
Okay. All right. I'm going to start from the top and go down, since it's, the worst here. We're going to mix it up a little bit. Number 1, every single WWE women's tag team match that took place in the month of March just tied for number 1. Every single one of these matches was awful. And it's not totally their fault. They had bad finishes. The crowd didn't care, but they got to get some blame here. These matches were just awful. I think the worst one was probably the Bellas against Lash and Nia. But if you want to pick Like, I'm pretty sure the Bellas faced Alexa and Charlotte at some point.
Yeah, they did.
I'm pretty sure Alexa and Charlotte faced Lash and Nia. Like, all these teams face each
They
other.
did.
None of them were good.
They all blend together.
Yes. I don't remember half of them. None of them were good. Absolutely none of them were good. I couldn't stand any of them. Number 2, Aaron Wolf and Don Fale. Way to just take everything Aaron Wolf had going for him on January 4th and be like, nah,
Bump all that.
we don't need that.
We need a Don Fale push.
Yeah, we don't need any of that. So that's number 2 on my list. Number 3 was the garbage Austin Theory Logan Paul against the Usos. Not the street fight, which wasn't very good either, but the tag team match that ended in the DQ. That sucked.
Yeah.
That
was horrible.
Yeah,
horrible.
I gotta have an Austin Theory press mention in there. I just do. Number 4, Elena Black and Mara Sade. That was a rough one, folks.
Which one? The match on TV or the pay-per-view?
The not the no DQ match. The no DQ match is fine. The TV
that was
the TV.
Yeah, the TV match. Yeah,
the TV match was not very good. You can throw a lot of knockouts matches in there. Honestly.
Ariana Grace got a couple of them.
Yeah, what was the match? I forgot it. The Desire Brookside match wasn't good. Jody Threat, I think, was another one.
Oh, that was worse.
Yeah, the Jody Threat. Honestly, the Ariana Grace Jody Threat match might be number 4 over Mara. Elena Black. Yeah, that one. That one was tough. And number 5. More WWE Tag Team Wrestling SP3. The Solo and the Sikoas against the Wyatts. Pick one. I don't care which one. All of them
Just
terrible. Yeah.
Just pick one.
Pick the singles matches that they did. Pick the tag team matches that they did. I'm sure they did a trios match in there.
I thought you would have put the gauntlet from NXT that Johnny Gargano won because he fell asleep on the guy.
Nah, that ruled. I love that spot. So that's the kind of bullshit that's right up my alley. So nah, I actually didn't have that one. I didn't think about that one at all. I was like, yeah, this is funny to me. Unfortunately, I had a few women's matches and I was trying not to be too harsh, but there was some. I'm pretty sure they did a Jade Cargill and Michin match.
That was not good. That was not good. Any of the stuff with Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley have not been that good.
Yeah. I put the entire tag team division at number 1. So.
everything they've done.
Yeah, that was all pretty terrible. All right. That's right. Yeah, this Sunday, all these matches are going to be garbage at Dynasty. Oh, MJF is going to attack Kenny Omega's diverticulitis. Oh, how's Kenny going to react? Can he get through the match? Out of here. Tired of that. Maybe if his guts actually fall out, then I'll appreciate the match. I've seen this man get attacked in the diverticulitis. Oh, Jon Moxley's going to attack Will Ospreay's neck. Can Will Ospreay pull through the match even though he's been dropped on his head 13 times during the match? He somehow keeps kicking out. One head drop. That should end the match. Piece it out of here. Get Ospreay the hell out of here after one head drop.
All right,
What else is
Jeremy
on this
Coachman,
card?
are we done?
What else is on this card? I'll make fun of all these dumb matches.
Are we done, Jeremy Coachman?
How many hot tags are we gonna have in this title match? Both the tag team matches.
I should call you Jeremy Corderis. Jimmy Corderis was pissed off with Dynamite last night.
I don't listen to those people. I have no idea what their actual opinions are. These are the meanest things y'all have ever said to me. This was honestly like my second favorite moment of the week besides Christian saying he's fucking, because I was like, thank you, Kenny. I've been saying this shit. Kenny Omega, you know what? He is the greatest wrestler in the world. He's just been appealing to me recently. He's like, oh, Jeremy's saying I'm Clay Thompson. Nah, we ain't doing that. I ain't Clay Thompson out here. Like Jeremy's saying that the diver team, they've been, yeah, you know what? We can get behind that. Let's call that out. So Kenny Omega is working for me. I respect Kenny Omega. That's why he's winning on Sunday. What the fuck did we accomplish today, SB3?
I don't know. After that, I think that we negated everything that we accomplished after that. Hanare watched the show. That's what we accomplished.
You know what? Fairs. The biggest thing we accomplished today is Hanare tuned in, and hopefully he still wants to do this interview.
Hope he's still watching. He's like, you know what? Let's do 3 p.m. because you said that you're not available at that time.
We're gonna show up at 2:30 and be like, I hope he's here. Is he gonna be here? Hopefully he's here. Appreciate everybody showing up today. You know. We accomplished. Fans are to blame for TNA's bad decisions. That's right. Fans is the reason why. SP3, let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. I'll be live in less than half an hour with Jimmy Macaram to review AE Ramble. So join us live for that. We'll break down AEW Dynamite, and we'll see how much Jimmy hated the show.
He's gonna hate it. It's gonna be very funny. All right. No spotlight tonight, everybody. I have children obligations, so I will once again have to miss the show. These kids need to have less of a life so I can stop being a glorified chauffeur because I'm tired of it, and they don't pay for gas. And gas is fucking expensive now, so I do apologize that there is no spotlight tonight. We'll be back next week. Next week's Mania week, so we should be back next week. I can't believe next week's Mania week. Oh.
The most wonderful week of the year.
Nah. I'm gonna be a wreck next weekend. Like,
yeah.
Y'all, tomorrow is gonna be like the best version of me for about 3 months. And that's not very good, mind you. Don't get me wrong. But it's going to be the best version of me for about 3 months, everyone. Because tomorrow's the last day before there's a TNA show on Saturday. There's AEW on Sunday. I'm going to be up till 3 o'clock covering that press conference. And then it's Mania week. And do you know what else Saturday is, SB3?
Rebellion?
No, next Saturday, sorry.
Oh,
besides WrestleMania and besides like 3 million indie shows.
What is it?
The start of the NBA and NHL playoffs. So next weekend is not only WrestleMania weekend, it is the start of the NBA and NHL playoffs. Everyone knows.
Have his eye on the TV all day.
Yeah, I don't care about wrestling. Everyone knows I'm miserable. Everyone remembers me last year. I'm terrible. I'm going to be miserable for the next 3 months, starting on Saturday. So tomorrow, everybody, I think we should celebrate me. We should celebrate my happiness. We should celebrate everything I contribute across all platforms because I'm going to hate all of you on Monday. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.